I'm unmuted now, which is a good time to unmute myself as I kick off this call. I just did that because I want it to be a really good meme after this. So you're welcome. Okay, we're here. I am so grateful to be with all of you. We made it. We're ready. We've been ready for this for quite some time. I'm Erin Gallagher. I'm the CEO and founder of Ella and the creator of the Hype Women movement, the host and co-producer of the Hype Women podcast, and now lead instigator of this Hype Women for Harris movement, of which you are all a very, very important part. It's going to be an incredible evening, truly magical, powerful, 90 minutes. We are going to do our very best to stay in that time frame. We have really worked hard to do it, but you never know. So I hope that you're comfy, you're sitting back, your feet are up, you're relaxed, and you're ready to experience what we're about to unveil for you. And I just wanted to start and say I have a message for all the other groups that are holding calls at the same time as our Hype Women for Harris kickoff. Let's fucking go. Woo! We need all of us to be doing this work. I am so happy that these calls are happening often and simultaneously because there is a lot of work to do to get us to the finish line in 82 days. We are not competitors. We are co-conspirators. We are not trying to one-up each other. We are committing to plus oneing another. And we are not in this for individual praise. We are in this for our collective power. Now, it's important to note, this is not a sprint or a marathon. It's a sprintathon, which is a word. I thought I made it up, but then I Googled it and it's been around for a while. So that's what we're here to do. We are sprintathoning our way to electing Kamala Harris, our first woman president. Sometimes you are going to be running the last leg. Sometimes you're going to be screaming in support from the sidelines. Sometimes you will be passing the baton, and sometimes you will be grabbing it. Sometimes you're going to be handing out snacks and water. And sometimes you're going to be sprinting so fast it hurts. Lastly, sometimes you're going to be watching the race from under a blanket on your couch. I have been doing that, and I will be doing that, all of these roles over the course of the next 82 days, and I hope that you will too. So let's talk about what we're here to do tonight. We have 26 amazing women here to share from their hearts. They are going to share why Kamala becoming president will make their lives better. They're going to share their ask of Kamala when she takes office. They're going to talk about why and how they want you to hype her leading up to the election. And finally, they are going to let us know how we can hype them. What? Are we allowed to do that? Women hyping themselves? I know, right? Like in public, while doing mission-driven work for another woman? I'm going to tell you something. It's going to make you uncomfortable because we do not do this often enough, but we are doing it tonight because women have to stop paying the passion tax when it comes to mission-driven work. This isn't about hyping VP Kamala Harris or hyping these women. It's both. Women want both. Women deserve both. No more of this one at a time. Get in line. It's not working. So when you hear these women make an ask tonight and you think to yourself, did she seriously just talk about herself? Did she ask for support on something? You're going to check yourself. You're going to recognize the conditioning that's deep inside of you because we live in a white supremacist patriarchal society. And you're going to decide to make a different choice, a choice to hype women. Our goal for these virtual calls, of which there will be 7 between today and October 31st, is to raise money for the Harris campaign, to galvanize a broad, intersectional, diverse audience to action. That's us. To share tangible ways along a continuum of capacity to organize, fundraise, and vote over the next 90 days to win. We all play a role. Every role matters. And so I want you to listen to the ways that you can get involved in each of those 3 pillars of organizing, voting, and fundraising. And then I want you to do whatever you can every day until November 5th. So now we're going to kick off with the OG hype woman herself. You may recognize this jacket. It's the jacket Jamie Lee Curtis wore 2 weeks ago at Comic-Con, promoting her most recent movie that's coming out. And I texted her when I saw it and I said, I need that jacket. And because she's Jamie Lee Curtis, she wasn't like, yeah, girl, you should get it. She mailed it to me. That's just kind of how she is. And so I see this as Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants 2.0. This jacket has power. We have power. And she is not able to be with us here live tonight because, in addition to being named to Disney's icons and promoting her new movie coming out with Lindsay Lohan, Freakier Friday, among other things, she couldn't be here, but she created a video for you and she wanted you to hear it. So folks, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Hi everyone, it's Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm so happy we're on this call. Listen to these women, listen to what they're telling you to do and how to help and the steps to take. I'm going to listen along with you. I'm very happy to be here with you. I'm proud of being a member of the Hype Women for Harris group of women who are going to change the course of this country. You know, the truth is you don't need to hear anything more from me. You know what the stakes are. You know what a despicable human being is that's running opposite Kamala Harris and what he wants to do to this country and to you and to your freedoms. And so the stakes are high and we know what we need to do. So let's do it together. I spoke at the Women's March, but really what I got to do was introduce Helen Reddy, who was going to sing a cappella I Am Woman in front of that huge crowd in Los Angeles. And it was one of the great privileges of my life. And the lyrics of her song are more important today than they were then. And I just want to remind you of how powerful they are in this moment. And I'm going to make it a plural so that you understand that we, Hype Women for Harris, are doing this together and it's not an individual effort. We are women. Hear us roar in numbers too big to ignore. And no one's ever going to get us down again because we've heard it all before and we've been down there on the floor and no one's ever going to get us down again. Yes, we are wise, but it's wisdom born of pain. Yes, we've paid the price, but look how much we've gained. If we have to, we can do anything. We are strong. We are invincible. We are women. And it's the women that are going to save the world. It's the women that are going to save this country. It's the women that are going to save our children. It's the women that are going to save our freedom. It's the women that are going to save people of color and of different sexual persuasions. It's women who are going to save them. And I'm proud to be with you. And I'm going to link up with you and listen to these women. And whatever they tell me to do, I'm going to do. And I hope you will too. God bless you all. Let's do this. And together we will win. Thanks.
Do you need a minute? I need a minute. I need a damn minute to sort of process what Jamie just shared with us. And I think music is so powerful. It is a universal language and it inspires people. And so I'm just grateful that she shared that stanza with us. And it's a song I think we should all go and listen to again, in addition to the song of the campaign, Beyonce's Freedom, which is what we're all here fighting for. So thank you to Jamie Lee Curtis. She, of course, did not hype herself because that's what she does. And so I will tell you that she has multiple movies coming out that you should be following her on Instagram and paying attention to them and seeing them and hyping them, and also buying her most recent children's book, her 13th children's book that she's written over the past decade or so. And just, I don't know, she's the OG. She's the OG. So next we are talking to Ashley Marie Preston, media personality, journalist, activist, and the first trans woman to become editor-in-chief of a national publication. Ashley.
Hey everybody. I am so excited to be a part of this call and this conversation. I'm going to first of all warn you that I am the woo-woo friend. Literally, my friends call me esoteric Oprah, so things may get a little intergalactic up in here, but we're keeping it transparent and real. First and foremost, I'm excited about the chance to vote for Kamala because I believe that a woman's place is in the Oval Office. This is an opportunity to not only transform the patriarchal programming, policies, and predilections of the old paradigm, we also get to usher in a new era in which our president makes it clear that women, trans, and non-binary bodies are not laboratories for legislation. Um, it's important that we understand that this is a war on bodily autonomy. And one of the things that they like to do is create these false divisions between the different ways in which women and femmes show up in the world. And we refuse to allow that to continue to crumble and degrade our community. And I also don't know about y'all, but I'm ready for a president with a multi-layered identity who also champions democracy through an intersectional lens. Intersectional leadership is so important to me because as a Black trans woman, my identity actually overlaps with multiple marginalized groups, and those communities just so happen to be at war with one another. So oftentimes I find myself caught in the crossfire. Therefore, in the first 100 days of the Harris administration, I love to see the development of a presidential advisory committee on intergenerational and multicultural unity that would help salvage and strengthen America's social infrastructure. This is so important because many of us cannot go on social media, turn on the TV, the radio, or a podcast and not hear the different ways in which bad faith actors are pitting us against one another. And personally, as a prominent leader, I refuse to allow myself to become another polarizing piece of some shadow entity's political puzzle and strategy for annihilating all of us. And so I think it's important for us to really take a step back and dream and imagine. I imagine a committee that would bring together prominent leaders from diverse communities, Black, Indigenous, Latine, Asian American, Pacific Islander, Jewish, Arab, Christian, Catholic, Muslim, LGBTQ, immigrant, you name it. And the purpose of this wouldn't just be to heal cultural conflict and division within our fractured communities, but it would also be to work collaboratively toward a shared future that promises dignity, safety, and access for all of us. And I think that this has to become a number one priority for our nation. So if you want to hype me up, support my organization, youareessential.org. We are committed to intergenerational and multicultural healing that helps us achieve a society that feels more just and equitable for all of us. I'll see y'all at the polls.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Ashley did it. She told us she was going to do it and she did it. Don't be worried about writing down all of the things that you need to know for two reasons. One, this is going to be recorded, and so you will be able to go back and listen to different pieces. We also will be hyping each of these women's hype request on social and on hypewomenforharris.com. And of course, in this description of our YouTube video. So I mean, we better get that done, Ashley. That needs to happen. We're going to send this video directly to VP Kamala Harris, and no big deal. We'll just get it solved because women are going to win this. All right, now we are headed over to Sheryl Lee Ralph. You all probably know who Sheryl is. She is an Emmy award-winning actress. She's an Emmy-nominated producer and your favorite teacher, Barbara Howard on Abbott Elementary. She was going to be with us live, but because she is filming Abbott Elementary right now, she sat down in her room at the studio, filmed a video, and is sharing it with all of you. Sheryl Lee Ralph.
Hi, it's Sheryl Lee Ralph, and I'm here in between scenes at the studio. But I just wanted to say here's to all the hype women who bring it as we stand on the brink of a new era. The prospect of Kamala Harris becoming president. Oh, it just fills me with hope and excitement for the future of our nation. Kamala Harris embodies a vision of progress and unity that promises to uplift all Americans, not just some. Her leadership will make our lives better by championing issues that matter to us. Affordable health care, quality education, and equal opportunities for all. Kamala Harris has consistently, and I mean it, consistently advocated for policies that prioritize the well-being of every citizen. And her presidency would mark a significant step forward in addressing the many challenges we face today. Her commitment to justice, her experience, and her unwavering determination to create a more inclusive society mean that we can expect a future where each of us has the opportunity to thrive. As Kamala prepares to take on this monumental responsibility, my one ask of her is to continue to listen to the voices of the people. Stay grounded in the communities that have supported you and remain steadfast in your dedication to equity and justice, equality. Keep pushing for policies that not only promise change, but deliver it, ensuring that no one is left behind. And now I call upon each one of you hype women in this audience to rise to the occasion and help build the momentum leading up to this very crucial election. Let's amplify Kamala's message of hope and progress and peace by sharing her vision with our friends, family, and neighbors, and strangers too. Engage in conversations, volunteer your time, and use your voices on social media to highlight the importance of her leadership. See, together, let's create a wave of support that propels Kamala Harris to the presidency. And in your spare time, you can watch me on Abbott Elementary. Follow me on social media, and let's all get out there and make it happen for all of us and the future too. I'm Sheryl Lee Ralph, and I thank you.
I mean, I kind of expected Sheryl to say, I'm Sheryl Lee Ralph, and I approve this message, because she needs to be running for something because I'm voting for her. Like, amazing, amazing, amazing conversation from her, and just like the vibes, right? I think that is what's different about this campaign. It's what's different about who's on the ticket. There are vibes happening now that are changing the way that we think about saving our own democracy. So listen to Sheryl, go watch Abbott Elementary. And I'm so excited to introduce our next speaker, Miss Sophia Bush, actor, activist, co-owner of the NWSL team Angel City FC. And make sure I'm getting this right, Soph. Angel City FC is now the world's most valuable professional women's sports team. Is that correct?
It's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody watches women's sports. I'm incredibly, proud not only of our team, but our Olympians. If U.S. women were their own country, they would have come in third for medal count. So clearly the ladies are crushing it. Jenny knows a thing or two about this. She knows I'm a huge fan of the sports bra. I'm so hyped to be here with all of you. Stacy, one of my oldest friends, Arlan, one of my most brilliant friends. Aaron, you've collected all of us. Annie, thank God for you on the internet. Retta, like every single person who I see here, Alexandra, I want to give flowers to each and every one of you. But what excites me about this moment is not just the history that if we keep our feet on the gas, we will make with Vice President Harris. Not just the fact that we have eviscerated every right-wing talking point that groups like this hate men, because we love Coach Walls. We don't like toxic masculinity. We're actually very pro healthy, lovely men, and especially social studies teachers. We believe in history. We know facts are facts. We care about the environment we're going to leave for our children and our children's children. The thing that feels most pressing to me and most exciting is to have hope again, because we are piercing those veils. For so long throughout human history, we've all been taught that if you get more, maybe you threaten me. The tribalism is so dangerous to us, and we're supposed to know better in this age of connectivity. but it's really hard to do better when everything out there is weaponized by the oligarchs who, hope to have $8 billion instead of 7, and will do it at the cost of every one of us. The thing that I hope to see, and I really want to echo Ashley's points here, I want to see us coalition build as we are to get Vice President Harris elected, but I want to see us build coalitions in the Harris administration. I want to see diverse groups of women like this one come together on what real equitable leadership looks like. Because if we think about these 100-year cycles, if we think about what happened in Germany from the 1920s to the 1930s, and we analyze the 2020s into the 2030s, the rise of fascism now, all the things historians always tell us, I want to call out, but I want to call in the women that look like me, who are so proximally close to the most privileged that for a long time, I think a lot of women who look like us have thought it would protect them, and be really clear that we are at the inception point of our 100-year learning, where if we allow them to bifurcate the fight for bodily autonomy and say, oh, well, for us, but not for them. Well, for cis women, we have to handle abortion, and then we can handle things for trans and non-binary folks. Absolutely not. That is the betrayal that the women I grew up idolizing as suffragettes did to the incredible Black women and leaders that they were advocating alongside. They threw out half their community to succeed, and the hell that was raised for people of color and anyone that wasn't a white woman in America for the last 100 years is impossible to ignore. And I want us to be smarter than our fear that maybe if we are too inclusive, we will lose. That's a fucking male bullshit talking point. Pardon my French, but that's nonsense. That's the guy with all the cookies telling the guy with one cookie that the guy that has no cookies that doesn't look like him is trying to take one. We're redistributing the cookies, folks. And my dream for us is that people on a call like this get to build a group in the new administration where we really get to figure out what a nationwide network of support for women's healthcare, for trans women's healthcare, for the healthcare for non-binary folks, we get to figure out what that looks like. We get to figure out how to exercise our privilege, our platforms, our podcasts. I've been on Arlan's. I'm going to hype you up for your first million. It's so good. If you don't listen, sign up. She's come on my show, Work in Progress. I am so uncomfortable. I'm sweating. I don't want to talk about what I do, but you're all welcome to come on my show as well. Like, the conversations we have in groups like this, I think are the most delicious privilege in this country. And if we can mobilize this kind of love, this kind of joy in showing up for your community, being there for each other, we change all of it. And then we give the men that have been sold the lie of the patriarchy that hurts them too, we give them the option, like, be a coach or be a loser that we kick to the curb who hopefully gets exiled. Like, the ex-president should go live somewhere else because we don't want him here. I'd like to shoot him into space in a cannon, but I've been told not to say that in public. So I'll say it here with all of y'all. I wish he wasn't here at all, but eventually, hopefully it'll happen. Like, we all deserve better, and we get better together, and we get better by centering those of us in communities like this that are the most at risk. Because I'm telling you, if we fix America for Black trans women, we fix it for the rest of us. So my hope and prayer is that we keep exactly this. We keep the hype of hope. We're all remembering the joy in political action again. Like, for so long, it was the thing we had to do, but we all felt like we were dying. I'm so fucking happy to be here with you all. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Use your voices, talk to your families, use the suffragette analogy. It really does wake some people up. Whatever it takes, wherever it takes, whatever you need, hit me up. I'm here. I have taken the next 3 months off of all the work that I can to just work on the election full time with all of you. Let's go. I'm so honored. I'm so in love with you all. I could sob. I'm just really, really, really proud of us. So here we go.
I'm really proud of us too. Soph, I'm really proud of you for pulling together truly millennia worth of history that we have to unpack, and that we have to, there's a reckoning that many of us need to acknowledge. I
And
think
maybe we should stop banning books, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that part, right? Like, if you don't want to read the book, don't read it. But we're not going to tell people that they can't have access to them. That's the Coach Wall's Midwestern, mind your own damn business line. But I think your point of, if we fix this country for Black trans women, everybody wins. Everybody. Because we have to focus on ensuring that those that have been the most historically excluded, not because they deserve that, but because, again, we live in a white supremacist patriarchy. If we fix it for them, we fix it for all of us. You talk about hope, Soph, and Alexis McGill Johnson said a couple quotes to me recently. Hope isn't, Alexis McGill Johnson is the president of Planned Parenthood, for those of you that need to know that. Hope isn't something you can just summon. Hope needs an infrastructure in order to sustain it. Hype is a hope infrastructure. So as you hear these women deeply uncomfortable about talking about themselves, but absolutely willing to talk about what we need to do in the world, this is an exercise to start to teach them how to do that, because we have to be able to do that simultaneously as we hype other people. Okay, we are moving on. We're going straight to Annie Wu, who is a digital and political strategist, social media expert, and content creator. I always like to say this. I don't know if this is how Annie still wants to talk about herself, but she is the reason that John Fetterman got elected. Let's just call a spade a spade. So, Annie Wu.
Hi, everyone. Yes, I get deeply uncomfortable, especially when Aaron introduces me. But so excited to be with you all. Annie Wu Henry, I use she, her pronouns. I'm a proud adoptee, Pennsylvanian and progressive. Hometown of Pennsylvania. It's kind of an important state. If you haven't heard, or I should actually probably say Commonwealth, I work in digital and political strategy, and I live in the wonderful city of Philadelphia, the birthplace of the Declaration of Independence and also Taylor Swift. And it's also the place that probably saved democracy in 2020. I want to share a little story because I think it just really encapsulates what everyone's here for. And it is back in 2019 when there was a young college grad, a bit lost, as most people are in 2020 when they're 22 years old, but wanted to have a fun night in New York City, but on a 22-year-old living in New York's budget. And so I camped out in Midtown to go see a live show of SNL. So you can wait in line and they give out some tickets, but you have to like sleep over on the street. And it was raining that night around 11 p.m. And so I went into 30 Rock because I had to use the bathroom and wanted a little bit of a break from the rain. And while I was walking out of the lobby, I saw someone and I like looked over and I did a double take. And I didn't want to say anything because I was trying to play it cool, which I'm really bad at doing. And she said, you know, she saw me like get a little excited. She's like, do you want to come over and take my picture? And so I did. And I fangirled a little bit. I told her I was passionate about politics and I was trying to figure out how I could be involved. That's what I studied, but I didn't really know where I fit into that whole world. And she said to stay involved in politics because we needed young people like myself. We took a selfie and I left really excited. I went back to the street where there were all the other SNL fans. And they thought I had met like one of the cast members or talent because I was so excited. And I was like, no, I met Kamala Harris, who was the first Black woman senator from California. And she had just announced her presidential run. And I was a nerd paying attention to all of that in the primaries that early on. And so after that, you know, I was figuring a few things out, had a few moves, had a few career changes, and I got involved. I got involved online. I helped with a Senate race. I had the privilege for working for a Congresswoman, AOC, if you maybe heard of her. And I tried to find a little voice of my own on the way there. And so a few years after that, after 2019, I met Kamala again. And this time it was actually at the VP's residence, where she had become the vice president of the United States and I had become someone who worked in politics. And you can imagine that I was very shocked that when I saw her, she said, I actually know of your work and I want you to keep going, which was a very full circle experience. And so that's my personal experience with who Vice President Kamala Harris, hopefully soon to be President Kamala Harris, is someone who believes in young people, someone who takes the time to encourage them and lift them up, or should I say on this call, hype them up. And I just want to end as like a young person. I'm a millennial, kind of on the cusp. I've been talking to so many other young people who have recently been saying like, what is this feeling? And it's, I think it's the H word that they're feeling for the first time in their life, because they feel like we feel like we're voting for something rather than just against something. But I say the word hope like really, really cautiously, and that's probably because my first election was 2016, and some PTSD from that. But like, I really love the vibes that are happening. I love a good meme. I love all the joy and excitement we've been seeing online. And as Aaron said, like the vibes are really, really good right now. But I really want to be clear that vibes are not votes. And we have 82 days left. And there's still so much more work that we all need to do to get through the finish line. But then also after November to keep working, because it doesn't stop after election day. There are elections every year. There's work to be done in communities. There's work to be done in our coalition building. And so we have a lot to fight for. And for all the young voters out there, while we're talking about what's at stake, we're on the precipice of what we know can be a historic election. So let's just do the work so that for everyone feeling that hope for the first time, we make sure this is their 2008 moment and not our 2016 moment.
Thank you, Annie. Everyone needs to follow Annie on Instagram and TikTok and all of the places, because she is brilliant. She breaks down what's happening in politics in a way that is understandable, but also really fucking funny. And so I'm deeply grateful to have her doing this work out in the world, and to be really on the front lines for us. We need her. She is right. Hype is not hope. Hope is not hype, and vibes are not votes. Votes are votes. And we, at the very least, we all have to vote on November 5th individually, but there are going to be opportunities along a continuum of capacity where you can be a part of ensuring that everyone is voting. It may look very different. You might be able to actually sponsor a bus to go to your local assisted living home to drive 250 elderly residents to vote because they don't have access to transportation. There are lots of different ways where you can get creative to think about this. Phone banking and knocking on doors, those are all kinds of different ways. But we want to make sure that we're going to keep bringing you that information so that we can meet you in this moment where you are to help us get the vote out. Okay, so now we are going on to Queen Retta. You know Retta. Retta is a stand-up comedian. She is an actress. She is known for her iconic roles of Donna on NBC's Parks and Rec and Ruby Hill on Good Girls. Y'all, Donna, Retta, all of the ladies.
Hi. So I'm going to bring this down just to the simplest thing for me that I was aware of for myself recently. So I have 4 nephews, and I decided that I was going to take the offensive and not the defensive in this election. I have a need to make the world at least as good a place to live in, if not better, for my nephews, who are all under the age of 9. They are Black boys who are going to grow up to be Black men in these here United States. I want them to be safe and walk in this world and in this country, not with fear, but with a sense of belonging and a sense of pride. And I was thinking about pride. Pride is a wonderful thing. I like to travel, and being one of the childless cat ladies, minus the cat, that I am, I'm lucky enough to travel as I wish. And when I've traveled in the past, it was with a sense of pride in being an American. People of other countries, kind of looked at us Americans with admiration and envy. What's it like living in the land of the free? Must be dope. And I felt more pride in America when I was visiting other countries because of the way others looked at us. And I haven't felt that same pride in years. I'm a big fan of the Olympics. I was glued to my TV watching the games in Paris, and watching those athletes compete for the country was exhilarating. It's so exciting. And hearing the crowds chant USA, USA gave me goosebumps. And I had a moment while I was hearing those chants and feeling the goosebumps where I realized I have not had that reaction in years, because I felt like, the MAGA movement had co-opted national pride into something odious and even villainous, may I say it. And so when I watched clips from Trump rallies, I heard them chant USA, and it made me cringe. Imagine cringing at hearing your country's name being chanted. What does that say about your country? VP Harris entering the race changed that for me. And God bless Joe Biden for having the benevolence and the selflessness to allow that to happen. VP Harris made me feel invigorated and hopeful. And I feel like a White House with a President Harris will give me that pride back. I won't be made ill by the sound of a USA chant. I won't be embarrassed for people to hear my American accent when I'm abroad. I want that pride back, and I'm looking forward to helping support the Harris Walls ticket to ensure my nephews get to have that same pride in their country that I always had, and that the sound of chants for the country doesn't make them cringe, but gives them the goosebumps that I was getting when I would hear that sort of thing. We were asked to give our number one ask. My number one ask is, when you hear people giving falsehoods about our candidate, VP Harris, correct them. You don't have to get into a fight. Correct them. It's a big thing where there are so many African-American men that were saying that she, put so many Black men in jail over marijuana, and it was just not true. So give them the information. And I also would like to ask, if you're afforded the opportunity to volunteer at a polling station, do it, because the more poll workers that we have, the more polling stations will stay open, and especially in areas that are desperate for it, that are that would be voting in leaning towards our democracy. How can you hype me? I host a show on HGTV called Ugliest House in America, and we come back in October with Scariest House in America, so check it out.
Oh, we're going to
That's what
be
I
there,
got.
Retta. We are going to be there, and we are going to be posting all of the things about your amazingness. And I think what you just talked about, so many of us are feeling that we are reclaiming our American pride. We're reclaiming it. We've had so much taken from us in recent years by that sort of MAGA right. And it's ours. It's still ours. And so we're gonna take it back. That's really what this is about. This is about us remembering that we, as women, we are 51% of the population. We are half of the labor force. We are 85% of consumer buying power. We are the market. We have the power to drive this. And so we're going to win. We're going to win. All right, next, we are on to Stacy London, style guru, designer, menopause advocate, CEO of the State of Menopause, and our favorite former host of TLC's 11 season running What Not to Wear. I know Stacy doesn't love talking about that all the time. She feels like it's going to be on her tombstone, but girl, we fucking listened to you when you told us what not to wear. So tell us where to vote. You're on mute.
I'm unmuted now. Hi, everybody. I'm honored to be here. I want to thank Erin for getting this together. I'm amongst my idols, and it is so wonderful to be here and to see how energized everybody is. I was at a Kamala event last night. We raised $50,000, and we went around and said one word we associated with Kamala. And it was hope, and it was galvanized, it was energized, it was woman. And it came to me, and I said, cautiously optimistic. And I will probably be the Debbie Downer of the group a little bit, but I do really want to reiterate a couple of things that have already been said and things that concern me that I think we as a whole need to think about. I mean, first, as much as I am worried about what we can do in the next 82 days, I think really thinking about what Annie is talking about when it comes to a coalition, what we do after we get Kamala in office is so important. Because remember, she's going to be up against forces that are really going to try and tear her down. I mean, look at what happened in Obama era. So I think that this is something that we really also have to consider. It's not just the short-term game, it's the long-term game, how we are going to support her while she's in office. And having coalitions that are really comprised of the most marginalized is how we get everything done for everybody. I cannot agree with that more. And so the reason that I say cautiously optimistic is because exactly as we said before, vibes aren't votes. And there are still so many, dare I say, delusional people who really believe that having a Republican president, whether it's Trump or not, is the way to go. And I think, just really referring to what Retta said about correcting people and not getting into a fight about it can sometimes be very hard or almost impossible. But I always encourage people, where are you getting your news from? Where are your sources on your information? Because when my stepmother, who is very much a Republican, sends me a New York Post article that says people who are voting for Kamala are dumb, I don't respond to. I just simply don't respond, right? Because that's her. She's reading the New York Post and she's watching Fox News, and she is completely brainwashed by that. So I really make it an effort to say, please look for sources that are news and not noise. And I think that that's incredibly important as well. I am happy to do anything that any of you would ask of me, if I can be of help to you in any way. If there's anything that you're organizing in the future that you want somebody to come and talk about style and politics, what makes you look more trustworthy, I'm happy to do it. But in the meantime, I'm thrilled to be here, and it is great to see everybody. I couldn't be more honored. So let's get Kamala into office. I also recommend this book. If you guys haven't recommended it to people, we're speaking Hitha Palapu right here. I'm giving it to everybody I know. Exactly right here. And I guess if I had one ask, it would be to hype my new clothing line on QVC that premieres next week. And it is sizes 0 to 3X, which is 0 to 28, extra small to 3X. And I care so much about women truly 40 to 70 who may feel invisible, may feel ignored, may feel like they are at the ending of something and not the beginning. So I am trying to make style a part of that reclamation of who we are. And certainly, as you said, I'm going to wrap it up right now, but certainly, as you said, Erin, it's a reclamation in some ways, but in other ways, I think this is the first time women truly get to claim who they are. And that is what getting Kamala in office is all about. Like, we've seen the men do it. Now let us do it. Thank you.
Stace, it's our turn. It's our turn. And I think, your point about even just the different phases of our lives as we age, and we're going through constant metamorphosis over and over and over again. We go through our own internal transformations. We respond to what's happening out in the world. And I think we have to just be so much kinder with ourselves. When we can do that, then we are able to be kinder to others. So much of this work about being able to hype someone else, to hype Kamala, is also, it has to start with being able to hype yourself. That is why everyone is, again, just a little uncomfortable doing this, but you're doing it, and no one's breaking. We're all still here. And now we actually have a task. We're going to go and we're going to hype you in those places. And we're going to do the work for Kamala. We are multifaceted women. We can do multiple things at one time. We can hold two things at once. So thank you for that message, Stacy. Cautiously optimistic and ecstatically giddy. We have to kind of run the gamut of it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis in order to do this for the next 82 days. And so I'm with you, sister. All right, now we're going over to Arlan Hamilton, investor, founder, and managing partner of Backstage Capital, host of Your First Million podcast, author of Your First Million. And as you've already heard, all of the women on this call hyping Arlan, we are fucking fangirls of Arlan. Arlan, come on and tell us more of what we need to do.
Thank you so much. It's just been an honor being here, and very hard acts to follow, I'll say, but very honored to be here. I am not afraid to hype myself. Imposter syndrome is a lie. We all do not have time for it. We don't have time for imposter syndrome. Just think, anytime you have imposter syndrome or you feel that creeping in, think about the fact that Trump was actually our president for 4 years. Okay, and he shouldn't run, a hot dog stand. No offense to hot dog stand people. I will say that Kamala's presidency would be absolutely groundbreaking, history making, and it would be more important than any one person could ever be. So it would represent so much for so many people, and it will quite literally save democracy as we know it. So it is, Handmaid's Tale needs to be just a wonderful, freaking awesome television show and not real life. I also think, as someone who has invested in more than 200 companies in the last decade after being homeless for 10 years ago, I think that Kamala has the opportunity to be known as the entrepreneur's president. She already does so much for small business, and I think that she can really lean into that. So I'd love to see her do that. I'd love to see her campaign do more of that. It's something that comes very natural to her, and I think that it could really spearhead something in our nation. I am going to speak about something very important. I think what I would love Kamala to do, I understand she is under the most intense pressure that anyone could ever be under. There's no way to even compare it. But I would hope that she would hold a little bit more space for a more hardlined and effective stance on a ceasefire in Gaza, in Gaza and Israel, and have a bit more, slightly more empathy forward facing on the campaign and beyond. I think not only is that the right thing to do, I think that it will help her get into office. When she is in office, we will hold her accountable to being our president, and we can ask all the questions and say all the things. So I also want us to give her that grace, and I think we can meet each other halfway. And I would love to see her prioritize, as I said before, underestimated founders is what we call them at Backstage Capital, who are women, BIPOC, LGBTQ+, and other. And I think that it's just it would change the whole country and then therefore change the world. The way that I would love everyone to hype up Kamala is to continue doing what you're doing, because you're doing an incredible job. Also think about the people who are on the fence and their minds can be changed. Quick example is my brother, 39-year-old Black man with children, great father, taking them on a cruise as we speak. And he has been tased by the police multiple times. He's been unfairly arrested and held, mistaken for other Black people doing wrong things. And he was not going to vote. And he called me the other day and said, "I'm voting for Kamala." And I was very surprised to hear that. And he said, "It's not because it's Kamala, it's because Donald Trump is giving immunity to all police officers who hurt Black people and other people." And so for him, it's not about Kamala. It's about getting away from what the alternative is. So whatever it may be, let's use that to our advantage. The way that you can hype me up is to grab my book, It's About Damn Time. Grab my book, Your First Million. Grab Retta's book. Retta's book is amazing. Get the audio version. It'll change your life. And go to backstageinvest.com if you want to help me invest in underrepresented founders.
I mean, okay, to-do list for Friday. Don't wait till Monday. Start tomorrow. We got a long list from Arlan on what to do. And it is so deeply important that we are hearing from so many of us who have different lived experiences, because When you sit in a silo and you sit in an echo chamber and you think you know all of the issues that are at play and you don't listen to how the world is impacting others, that is what leads us to be divided. And so it is so important for us to take the time to listen to others and to hear about what is happening for them, to hear about what's happening for your brother and his experiences. And to, again, I think it's a brilliant point you made about Kamala being the entrepreneur's president. We know that VC funding is minuscule when it comes to women. Less than 2% of VC funding goes to women. That's white women. When we look at women of color and Black women in particular, it rounds to 0. And so we need to get more creative about how we are building new places that are built for and by us, right? We are living inside of infrastructures that were built for a very specific archetype, a straight white cisgendered man. And so we need so many of us in these rooms, in these places pushing. And I'm just so grateful for everything that you said, Arlan, and I wholeheartedly support you and agree. Okay, now we're headed over to Reena Shaw. And I think, this is a really good example of what you think you might know about someone and whether or not you think you should pay attention, because a lot of the folks on this call are likely Democratic or have voted that way in the past. And Reena is a Republican. And she was the founder of Republican Women for Biden in 2020. First elected RNC delegate to oppose Trump in 2016. And her case launched the Free the Delegates movement aimed at denying Trump the nomination. So we need us in all of these damn places, in all of these rooms, fighting this fight. I'd love for Reena to tell us how she's doing it.
Erin, thank you so much. I'm honored that you'd asked me to be here tonight, because I think I might be the only Republican voter here on this call. But that's okay, because I'm usually the only affiliated Republican in most rooms I go into. And after what happened to me in 2016, when the Republican Party tried to purge me after I was elected in an election to go to the convention as a full-fledged delegate, they tried to just remove me. And they did it in the nastiest of ways, and nobody came to my aid. And I want to share this because it's so important that people know that there have been foot soldiers in the Republican Party that came up in an era like me, where I was always a centrist. I was born and raised in West Virginia that was always purple back in the day. And when I came to Republican politics, I didn't come because of my parents. They were not Republican voters. They were pretty much a libertarian, and even my mom had voted for Democrats, and they were really independently minded. And I think that streak was in me. But when I knew the Republican Party was the anti-slavery party, my favorite president, Abe Lincoln, was a Republican, obviously, right back there. And I thought this was going to be the party for freedom. And I've been saying this line a lot lately. I grew up thinking I would be the kind of person that advocated for not having the government in my backyard, my bedroom, my bank account. And nowadays I add on, not even the medical exam room. I certainly don't want the government there. And that is what this Republican Party is trying to do. They're trying to take freedom away from me and all of us, especially us women, but all of you on this call know that. Forgive me tonight, my voice is I'm a little under the weather. Right before this, I was just debating somebody on air at News Nation on Chris Cuomo's show, who was a big MAGA-ite, and he wasn't afraid to share it. And he kept calling Kamala Harris a communist. And that's what we're up against. We're up against so much misinformation and disinformation in this election that my head is spinning. In the 8 years that I've gone from refusing to leave the party, because I always thought this country had a multi-party system. Well, we really have a duopoly. And what I really feel we need to do is to see a healthy Republican Party. It would serve this country well if we had a healthy Republican Party. Why should I leave the party when I've been a foot soldier and I know how it works and how to make it healthier from the inside? But first, we have to defeat Trump, and we have to purge Trumpism from the party. And it's a tall order. I've been fighting it for a long time, but I know I can do it with your all's help. What we need to do is appeal to our Republican sisters, especially in the 7 states that matter the most. As a strategist, I know I still today, sitting here today, can see a path to victory for Kamala Harris, even if she loses North Carolina, Georgia, Nevada. Now look, numbers change by the day, but I know the work is actually pretty hard. We have all this momentum, but we shouldn't get caught up in our bubble and think that the fight isn't there, because there are a lot of women who are not answering the call, but they may listen if we talk to them. And so I urge each one of you to put aside your preconceived notions about what Republican women are. For me, I'm the daughter of immigrants from Africa and India. I've always had a centrist streak. From the minute I became a Republican, I was always a pro-choice Republican. I joined the pro-choice Republican Women's Caucus within the US House as soon as I could. We were a group of staffers, but we were mighty. And when I talk about the future, it has to include Republican women crossing over to give us President Kamala Harris. So I know I've taken all my time. I wish I could be a little bit more hyper tonight, but I just implore you to think about what we have at stake here. And we have to get Republican women understanding that voting for Harris is in their best interest. We have to push back on the misinformation, and we have to tell them they can't stay home. And when they turn out, they don't have to share their vote with anybody. All they owe anybody is to tell them they voted, but they can keep their vote secret. So please understand with me that Republican women are not all bad. So many of them are giving VP Harris a fair shake. We see her for what she is. I'm the daughter of an Indian mom. I'm raised up to be exactly what VP Harris has achieved in her life, and I admire it. So let's get together. Let's build a broad coalition. Let's reclaim our democracy and build a better government. I only own one red shirt, you all, and I'll close with this, and it's this one. Make empathy great again. Let's have some empathy for our fellow man, and especially these people we need to cross over and vote this time to give us a VP Harris. I don't have it asked. Just please just be in touch with me if there's ever anything I can do for you. I believe in the sisterhood that will put a President Harris in office. Thank you so much.
Reena, I love how you're like, I wish I could be hyped tonight. Girl, what was that? What you think, what does hype look like if this is you like low-key chill? You're doing really difficult work because you're doing it in spaces that don't want you there. They don't want a Republican woman asking these questions and pushing and demanding for better for all women. We need you to stay there in that place and to be that voice. And I really appreciate, and I think we need to all consider taking a moment to actually understand someone before we decide that we know who they are. Let's stop making assumptions, and let's also ask about people's intentions, because sometimes the impact doesn't land where they meant for it to. But if we ask them their intention and we can understand it, we can fix things. We don't have to just be completely done with each other. That's what drove us to be so divided over the past 8 years. And so, Reena, keep doing the damn work, sister. One was a tough show to go on. I can't believe you. You're amazing. We'll keep hyping you and come to your rescue in the comments, which I suggest we all stay out of. Okay, so now we are headed over to Aisha Tyler, our award-winning director, actor, comedian, New York Times bestselling author, podcaster, and activist. Aisha, take the floor, lady.
Mute myself. There we go. Hi, everyone. This has been extraordinary, and I really want to make sure I'm literally going to put a stopwatch on it because I really want to stick to my time. I feel like there's so many amazing women on this call. We're finding ourselves in an extraordinary time. I think everybody really feels that there was this moment of just a fog lifting and feeling as if we were in this transformational moment that felt similar to the first Obama campaign. And I wanted to say something about not just where we are, but who we are, because as flawed as this country is, as bathed in horrors as our origin story is, this is a unique place where anything is truly possible. And I think it's a testament to that fact that we have all these incredibly accomplished women on this call who have built extraordinary careers, wrought extraordinary things out of thin air, out of sheer will, out of drive and determination. And I think, you know, when I'm at my most patriotic, that's what I think about America, that this is a place where, you know, a Black woman who's the son of a construction worker, was an 8th grade education, could become a television and film director and be accomplishing the kinds of things that I'm accomplishing, and the things that all of you are accomplishing and continue to accomplish on this call. And that's not just about patting ourselves on the back. That's about using those accomplishments as a cudgel, as a weapon, as a door breaker to make space for other women, other people of color, other queer people, other underrepresented people to see where they can go and what is possible. That act of rebellion, that battle that we're all fighting every day in our careers, is a battle that we need to fight now for our country. We all know how to fight this fight. We've done it every day of our lives. It's why we are where we are, and it's what we need to do going forward. Retta talked about going abroad, and what's been so interesting, I travel abroad quite a bit, and people come up to you and they go, what's going on over there? Like, and you don't have an answer. I'm like, it's a shit show, man. But we have gone through many, many transformational, dynamic times in the history of this country, and we continue to fight for the soul of this place. And honestly, we continue to win. My mother drank out of a colored-only water fountain. Not my grandmother, not my great-grandmother, my mother. The fact that I can walk onto a film set and tell 300 white boys in shorts what to do, and there is no rebellion, that there is collaboration, that there is respect, that there is support, is a testament to what this place is capable of, what we are capable of as Americans. And so that's what I think about when I think about America. Not that this place is a perfect place. It's deeply imperfect. It's deeply flawed, but it is perfectible. And we are all working every single day to perfect this place because it has the framework and the structure and the soul to step into that exalted place, to become something more than what it has been, to become what we see it can become. And that is the moment that we are in. We didn't think that Obama was possible. I know deeply in my soul that President Kamala Harris is possible, is probable, is inevitable, because that is who we are as a country and who we continually strive to be. So I want to hype everybody else up on this call. When you're thinking about what you can't do, what can't be done, you have already done it. You continue to do it every day. And collectively, we are going to make this happen. It has to be relentless. It has to be focused. It has to be continually moving forward. But it is in our power to make this happen because it is our destiny. It is the destiny of this place that was built on the backs of enslaved people, that was built on the unpaid labor of human beings, that is continually striving to be something better, that is continually becoming something better, that we are going to become this better place. So volunteer, get on the phone. I agree, we don't need to convince us. We need to convince the people that are in the middle. We need to convince the people that are feeling unconvinced, unsure, that we can and will become the best version of America going forward. And I want to say two quick things, specifically to the people that think the economy is not going to be better under her. The economy has proven to succeed to the nth degree, to be more robust, more healthy, more resilient under Democratic presidents than under Republican presidents. That is just established economic truth. So when people are worried about the economy and when they're worried about their families, there's just real data that you can show them, that we have this young, vibrant, driven woman who wants to take the country into the future and not backwards. And I'm so excited to be a part of that because, she banged up, she disappoints us sometimes, but man, I fucking love America. And I'm so, so happy to see all of your faces and see what continues to be possible in this America and what we're going to make happen in November. Thank you.
Oh, you're not getting away without telling us how we're going to hype you, Aisha. You're not getting away with that.
I'm really lucky. I'm working all the time. I'm an artist, and I feel very fortunate to be as busy as I am. I don't want to hype myself up. I want to just say to everyone out there, keep doing what you're doing. So many of you have inspired me in so many ways. I've never felt more proud to be a woman and a woman of color and an American woman of color, looking at all of your faces. I'm thrilled to be here. And the work that I'm doing, what I'm trying to do is make space for other Black women and other women of color and other queer women to come behind me. So if I'm going to hype myself up, it's just, I'm out here directing television. I'm acting on a show that's on Paramount Plus, but think about how you can make space behind yourselves for other women to come up. Because that's the gig. 100,000 million women did it, so I can be where I am and we can be where we are. And so it's our job to make that space for other women going forward.
You're exactly right. It's our job. It's our responsibility. We don't have to haze people behind us because we went through something. That hurt people, hurting other people doesn't solve that. It doesn't heal you. And so we aren't going to do that anymore. We're not going to do that to other women in our lives who deserve our love and support. And to your point about finding ways to get involved in volunteering, I love to think about, we all have capital, human, social, financial, political capital that we can deploy in different ways to different degrees, and we can make withdrawals and deposits. And so when we think about things that way, like you just said, we've won this battle before. It's looked different, but we've won it in our own lives. And so let's use that skill set in whatever our craft is to put our human and social capital behind Kamala Harris. That is going to create this enormous wave that we have never seen the likes of before. So we're going to go do that. And I love also that when Aisha was talking about like Democratic presidents, Reena's like, yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point. I mean,
it's just established economic fact. Just read about it, y'all. Just do your own research. It's just the truth.
Just facts. Okay. So like that's part of this too, is like just get the facts. This doesn't have to be dramatic or emotional. Let's just ensure that people are getting the right information. And let's get Stacy London's mom off of wherever she's getting her shit. Okay. So next we.
Oh, Erin, you're muted.
When did that happen? Someone muted me, I think. It's okay, team. They're like, you know what? Like, she going off. I'm going to go back to wherever. I think I said something about Stacy London's mom, and like, I don't know, the big dog came in, and not anyone that's working with us, by the way. So Alexandra Billings, actress, singer, USC professor on top of it. I don't get how you do all that. Please inform us. Tell us what we can do.
I have no idea. Listen to me. I want everybody to take a minute and inhale what's going on around you right now. Look at all of these humans in this space. This is not an accident. This is not something that happened out of happenstance. I want you to look at the magnificence that's in this room. And then I want you to tell me that shit isn't possible, because that's crap. It's learned behavior. It's what we've been taught. It's what we internalize, but it is not the truth. I'm 63 years old. I'm brown. I'm a trans woman. I was diagnosed with AIDS at a time where you got sick and you died. Most of my friends are no longer here. I don't really have a generation because most of us gave our lives either marching or being marched off. So when people talk about the older generation of trans people, they're talking to a dream and a whisper, because we don't exist. We're not here. The only thing I can do is sit, close my eyes, and remember what used to be. So when I sit in a room like this, with this much power and glory and grace, kindness, compassion, empathy, and openness, I'm not only overwhelmed, I believe once again that everything is possible. Kamala is possible. This isn't something we dreamed up. It's not philosophy. It's not ideology. It's happening. So what do? Well, we have to clear the way. People keep talking my whole life. They've been talking about, oh, we need to make space for you so you can come to the party. I don't want to come to your fucking party. I don't care about your party. Your parties are boring as hell. My party and my group, we know how to festivate, honey. When you want something designed, you come to us. When you want something beautified, you come to us. When you want something glorious and fabulous and fantastic, you come to us. Here's the deal. Kamala knows what's happening because she's been on the outside looking in for decades. So she understands. She doesn't have to draw a diagram about what it's like to be shoved out. She can hand you a picture. Here's how I know. Because I've been standing right next to her, people just like her. As a brown woman, every single party was happening on the inside. Here's the deal. I am not looking for inclusion. I am looking for honor. You don't have to like me. I don't give a shit if you like me. It's never bothered me if you don't like me. What I demand is your respect. Kamala literally in her San Francisco days was telling the youth, our trans youth, you matter. Here's the deal. The cis white heteronormative patriarchy that's been making all of the rules, all of them, all of the rules and breaking all of the rules has been telling us, my community, for generations that we don't exist. They don't hate us. They don't know us. How can you hate something that you don't believe exists? That's psychotic. So here's the deal. What we have to do as a group of women is say to ourselves, not only do we matter, we exist on the planet. Think how long ago it was that you were able to vote, or drive a car, or buy a house. I just want you to think about that for a second, because every single human that's in this room has done what you've had to do to get in this room. Every single human that you're looking at understands the journey. Kamala gets the journey. Okay, so here's what we have to do. We have to look at each other with great honor and respect, no matter where we come from, no matter who we believe is right or wrong on the political scale. I love that we're talking about saying to another person, no matter what they believe, hey, look, here's what I think is true. Here's what's statistically true. Here's a fact. Here's faith. Very different things. Both matter. Both are important. Both make up who we are. But one will allow us truth, dignity, and the human existence in our own country. And the other will allow us a divine blessing to say to people who don't agree with who we are and what we believe, that's okay. We can coexist. Here's the last thing I wanted to say. I'm shocked that I'm still here on the planet. I really am. It's not supposed to be true. I married the human that I met when I was 14 years old. I have no idea why she said yes. I really don't get it. I'm a handful, honey. I'm a handful. It's shocking to me. I married up. So I did really well. I've done a lot of dumb things. That was the one good thing I did. Here's the other thing I know how to do. I know how to survive. I may not be the smartest lady in the room, but I'll tell you something. If you lock your door, I'll crawl out your window. I know how to get shit done. And the reason I know that is because I have great teachers. You. Here's my ask of Kamala. Remember the youth. Remember the youth. The trans youth of this country needs to be seen, which means they need to be seen as a community of humans, not an idea, not a philosophy, not a fad. They need to be seen as an entirety. So as you continue to move forward, Kamala, I need you to remember, which you do really, really well. I need you to remember that our country was built on the backs of the marginalized, not the white cisgender patriarchy. Those are the people that took bows for it. And I'm done. I'm sick of listening to them. I'm tired of hearing them debate. I couldn't care less what they think or feel. Here's my ask. Get louder. And in that voice, you will find a divine blessing. Thanks, everybody.
What in the flying fuck just happened? I'm gonna have to take the jacket off, but it's part of the ensemble because I'm fully sweating. Alexandra, you gotta text me and tell me you're gonna drop it like that, okay? You belong here. You belong with us. We want to be at your party. The reason you are still here on this planet is to vote for our first woman president, a woman of color who sees you and who knows that you fucking matter and you exist. And we are going to be right there in front of you, beside you, or behind you in whichever way you need us, every step of the way over these next 82 days and beyond. We have your back. We love you. We got to win this, y'all. We're not doing this anymore. We aren't doing this anymore. The women on this call, we're fucking done. We are not staying quiet anymore. We will fuck up just so and listen, I'm a straight, white, cisgendered woman. I would arguably say that I have the most privilege on the planet. Yeah, straight, white, cisgendered men are running everything, but let me tell you about straight, white, cisgendered women and how in the wrong hands, it's real dangerous. They get to sit in rooms of all women, representing women monolithically, oftentimes being the one with the most power, but always being the one with the most privilege. And they also get to sit in a room of all men and be the only woman representing women monolithically. So we are going to ensure that those women wake up and that they realize that we aren't having it anymore. The foot soldiers to the patriarchy are not invited to our party, which is Alexandra's party, because that's the party we're going to. Fuck. All right. Shiny. It's like a good shine though, right? Okay. Thank you for that. That was beautiful and stunning. And I can't wait to go back and watch this like under the covers crying all weekend with some vino, because that's my plan. I told you that was one of the options, is to watch the race from the couch under a blanket. Next, we are going to my dear friend, Stephanie Nadi Olsen, the chair and founder of We Are Rosie, a company that has been disrupting for the past 5 years the traditional stodgy agency model, recognizing the lack of diversity and access to women and people of color, many of whom are those who are on this call. Steph.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you all for giving me your time tonight, as it is both a huge responsibility and honor to get to talk to you about how what's happening in Gaza is tied directly to our ability to hold on to our democracy here in America. I'm a Palestinian American. During the creation of the State of Israel in 1948, my father survived the ethnic cleansing of 750,000 Palestinians in the Nakba. My grandmother died in one of the many refugee camps my family was forced into, dying before she was 30 years old. As a Palestinian American, it is a miracle that I even exist to carry on my family line. My cousins are among the confirmed 40,000 dead in Gaza, the 16,500 dead children in Gaza, over 2,000 of them just infants and toddlers, and the 20,000 new orphans in Gaza. These numbers are all horrific and massively understated, as they haven't even been able to count all the bodies still buried under the rubble. I can promise you that each and every one of these humans was somebody's everything, and I am here to be their voice today. I will vote for Kamala in November because I care deeply about all of the issues that we've heard about this evening, and because I believe that this woman, if she chooses, can end the torment caused by masculine, zero-sum, inhumane leadership around Palestine and Israel. Our broken system of almost exclusively patriarchal leadership has led us to where we are: unimaginable death and destruction. Since October 7th, there are estimates that close to 190,000 dead Palestinians will be under the rubble when we finally get to count the bodies. There are confirmed 1,200 dead Israelis and hostages from both Palestine and Israel who desperately want to go home. In addition to the failure to get the hostages home, Israel's merciless destruction of Gaza is creating new levels of anti-Semitism for Jews in America and around the world. And the lack of protection and empathy for Palestinians, Muslims, Arabs by our own government over the past 10 months has led to the uncommitted voter movement that has swelled to 650,000 voters demanding a permanent ceasefire in exchange for their votes. Female leadership can change course on all of it. And with our support, Kamala Harris can be the one to end what the International Court of Justice has told us is likely a genocide. We see it with our eyes every day. We bring about this change by showing, reminding, communicating to Kamala and those around us that all of her supporters, many of her supporters, 70% of Democratic voters actually want a permanent ceasefire. And we must also demand an arms embargo and a peaceful path to a two-state solution, because all the calls we've heard for a ceasefire to date are empty without the action of putting an end to US weapons, money, our tax dollars, my tax dollars, which fuel this continued nightmare for Palestinians. None of this is a radical position. Our eyes and ears and hearts do not deceive us. We know what we're seeing, and we are not crazy for longing to end all of this death. And please don't forget that we live in a country where we, yes, all of us here today, through the pressure we put on our own politicians, get to decide who lives and who dies on the other side of the world. We are not absolved of that responsibility because it's an election year and we're busy. We must be the helpers in this moment. So let's go get Kamala Harris elected and give her the platform to show the world that the first female president of the United States is capable of righting generations of wrongs. And while we're at it, let's pick up the uncommitted voters that will sign their ballot for her in exchange for an arms embargo and permanent ceasefire, saving millions of lives. And let us remember that the state of Georgia, the state that I call home, decided the last presidential election by a margin of 12,000 votes. We are talking about 650,000 uncommitted voters that can tip the scales for Kamala Harris. So my ask today is that each of you do something, anything, so that we can end the bloodshed and pick up the uncommitted vote for Harris, because the two go hand in hand. So write this down. Go to notanotherbomb.com, scroll halfway down and see all the ways you can get involved in pushing forward the agenda of our fellow Americans in the uncommitted movement to end the genocide. And take at least one action that resonates with you. There's a petition there that will go to Kamala Harris and team. It will take you 30 seconds to sign it. And please, please don't stop talking about Palestine, because none of us are free until we are all free. Let's go hype Kamala for a free Palestine. And for me, you can follow my new activism account, because I have to keep it separate from my kids, on Instagram at Natty for Palestine. And as Erin mentioned, you can hit me up for all of your marketing projects, as I am the founder of We Are Rosie, a flex talent platform that has created a more inclusive way to get marketing work done. Thank you all.
Thank you, Steph. I'm so grateful for you. I'm proud of you. I know that so many of these conversations are scary. They make us feel things, which is something that for 4 years under that person, we started to not feel anymore. We were bombarded every day with such horrific things happening in the world. We started to become desensitized. So we have to make sure that that isn't happening anymore. We have to come back into our bodies and with each other. And so thank you, Steph. We will share all of the work that you're doing and ways to get involved. And we need a woman in charge, because the fighting has to stop. It has to stop. Okay, we are headed over to Don Hucklebridge, who knows a little something about fighting fights that are also difficult in this very old infrastructure that we exist within. She is the founding director of Paid Leave for All and the Paid Leave PAC. And I think what you'll hear from Dawn is how important that is also to women realizing their full potential and full power in ways that we have been completely overlooked and dismissed since the beginning of time. So Dawn, over to you.
Thank you, Erin. Y'all, what a powerful call. It is just such a thrill and such an honor to be a part of it. So yes, my name is Dawn Hucklebridge, and I want to start by saying Aisha reminded me to say that when I get frustrated, when I get disillusioned, when sometimes I feel like I'm done with America, I do remember that she once embraced a very young Arab mother to come into this country, start and grow a peddling business without speaking any English, to build a family and a community. And she is the only reason that I'm here today. I've had 2 missions in my life: to elect a woman president and to pass paid leave in America. And I'm not surprised that they might go hand in hand. In my day job, I am, as you heard, the founding director of Paid Leave for All Action, and the Paid Leave PAC. And so to the prompt that we got, when Kamala Harris becomes president, among many things, I will go to bed at night knowing that this democracy and this planet might well just last long enough for my son to grow up to become a good and a feminist man. We'll know that we can finally start catching up with the rest of the world when it comes to family policies like paid leave and care, policies that are about actual family values and shared humanity. It will make all of our lives better, because we know that when diverse women are in power and leadership, most often we all benefit. It changes everything. More progressive and peaceful policy, more family policy, more successful legislation. So my personal number one ask of Vice President Harris and Governor Walz when they do take office is to pass paid leave for all. For too long, we have blamed what are actually policy failures on ourselves, or on the most random things like avocado toast or cat ladies, or we've let women just fill the gaps and be our safety nets. We have sold self-care cures instead of making structural change. But I think everyone here today knows that something seismic is happening. These vibes are real. We collectively are finally demanding more. We are building bigger community. We're having fun. And Kamala Harris was right on time. So how can we hype her? We can hype Kamala by keeping these vibes going. And that means more, of course. That means showing up for the shifts. That means calls. That means knocking on the doors. That means giving what you can. And of course, as everyone has said, in your everyday life, it's talking to your neighbors, to your family, particularly those people that need some more encouragement, that need to be pushed. Post on your platforms. And I would personally add, talk about paid leave. It's not just important to our economic security, to our public health, to racial and gender equity in this country, but paid leave is one of the most popular issues in the country. And Kamala is the paid leave candidate. So telling people about her record, her commitment to paid leave is a huge boon. It hit with everyone from Gen Z voters to suburban moms. And I would just say, this is not exactly personal. It is on behalf of a movement of millions of people. You can support us by following Paid Leave for All for more nonpartisan content. You can follow my pages personally to see what we're doing politically and what we're doing for this ticket and what we hope for. And I just want to echo a lot of the positivity and hope that we deserve this moment, this candidate, this joy. And it requires all of our energy and our belief to keep it up. So let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go. Let's do it. Oh, I should have said at the beginning of the call, there will be swearing. Sorry, we're 90 minutes in. Apologies to the children. So here's the deal. We're not going to be on time. So let's just get that out of the way. This is when we said we would be ending. We are not done yet. So Alexandra's got some snacks. Go get some snacks, get some water, use the restroom, just turn the volume up. You can still hear us. This is going to be recorded, so you can come back and listen. But we're pushing along, but we've got a little bit of a ways to go. So I just wanted to acknowledge that, and I don't regret a damn thing. Okay, great. So now I'm going to hand it over to my sister, Jenny Nguyen, the founder and owner of the Sports Bra, the world's first sports bar, 100% dedicated to women's sports, which she decided to launch 2 days after the pandemic began to open doors again. And then, by the way, everyone has always watched women's sports, but now everyone talks about how everyone watches women's sports. And because of that, Alexis Ohanian has invested in Jenny to franchise the Sports Bra and bring it all over the world. Jenny.
Amazing. I don't even know what to say after that kind of introduction. I've been crying, I've been laughing. I have not been so inspired by a Zoom call in my entire life. This is fantastic. And I feel like I'm surrounded by like legends, and there isn't really too much I can add to what has already been said. So I will just put in my 2 cents here and give the floor back to you guys. You guys are amazing. So Erin, thank you so much for putting this together. And what an honor it is to join you all tonight. So Kamala being president, how will it make my life better? First off, there's so much discourse. There's been so much discourse since the last 8 years, and I still believe in the power of hope. And I know that people are afraid to say the H word, but to me, the introduction of hope in and of itself can be so powerful. Hope often leads to dreaming, but dreaming and hope don't matter to anything about anything. But what it does matter to is if it can inspire. And when that inspires people to dream and to hope and to take action, it kind of opens the door to what is possible. And for me personally, I dreamt and hoped that the place like the sports bra could be successful and could mean something to my community and to people who love sports as much as I do. And what I didn't know was how it would impact so many people. But the thing that I hear the most after opening the sports bra is that it opened the doors to what is possible, because folks hadn't ever dreamed that something like that would exist, a place like a sports bar that is dedicated to women's sports. So when we have Kamala as the first woman president, person of color, that possibility, that door opening of possibility will be a tidal wave of possibilities. And I think that we can assume and dream up all of the things that we're going to say, but when that becomes a reality, I guarantee you the domino effect will be massive and global and forever changing. And so, yes, I feel like hope, inspiration, opening the door to what's possible. When I think about personally, the immediate impact Kamala will make on my life will by feeling acknowledged, recognized, and supported for how I personally live my life, who I love, and the power over my own body. Those are very key to my identity, and having a president like Kamala in office will make my life better by those what feels like very simple things, but have felt like a reach for me personally in the last 8 years. My number one ask of Kamala when she takes office is, so when we opened the doors on the sports bra in 2022, that June, we celebrated the 50-year anniversary of the passing of Title IX. Although Title IX as an amendment was historic in its nature, its actual effectiveness and impact is hamstrung by the fact it is not mandatory and it lacks any standardized audit or process. So my ask is that Kamala passes legislation that actually implements Title IX in schools through checks and balances, through a system that upholds those things that Title IX has spoken about for over 50 years now. It holds these universities, colleges accountable on a very standardized basis. Right now, it's only if those colleges, universities, schools get sued does it ever go up the chain. And so for me, like when I see young girls, non-binary, trans folks playing sports, that impact is lifelong lasting. And when we can't implement that at a very basic elementary level on an amendment that was passed over half a century ago, it's rendered useless to me. So I feel like the implementation of Title IX is my big ask. How would I want the audience to hype Kamala leading up? So this hasn't been announced yet, but in September, the Sports Bra is launching the Sport the Vote campaign. Hashtag Sport the Vote, SPORTTHEVOTE. It hasn't been announced, nothing has been created. We're going to do it in September. What we've found is that the women's sports community or fans of women's sports is much more representative of the United States of America than many other sports fans in general. So fans of women's sports, we have an incredible demographic of diversity. And so in that demographic, there could be those voters that have never felt like their voices could be heard. So our goal is to use our platform, use the hype that is women's sports, which is very real right now, to empower folks to use their voice and either register to vote or go to the polls. So that will be in September, support the vote. That's kind of I have two big asks. One is to, if you are a person who is in sports or a fan of women's sports and you know somebody who wants to help us promote and like do whatever it is that we need to do to get more people and voters out there, hashtag support the vote. We're going to do it in September. Second thing is, Aaron already said, we are franchising the sports bra nationwide. I know personally here in Portland, my face and the brand here has a ton of love. We get a ton of support, love that. But when we franchise, we're taking on investors. We have owner operators, folks in these communities all across the nation. I want people to show up to those sports bras, support those people, and to build those communities. Because really what I did was I created these four walls, but it is the people that make the movement. And so when we go to your city, go out, help build these communities and help those folks feel a place of belonging, representation, celebration, and fandom for women's sports. So that's kind of my two big asks. And thank you all so much for your time. It's been a pleasure.
So, okay, Jenny, I will open a sports bra in Chicago. I mean, I know that you wanted to ask me in a more public setting, and now is the time. Okay, you can ask me later then. That's totally fine. Jenny talked about with me a while ago that her dream for the bra, she had her plan for 1 year, 5 year, 10 years. Her goals for her 10 years at the bra happened in year 1. And I think what Jenny said was it taught her that she has to dream bigger. And I think that's a really important message for so many of us, especially when you think about what she did, which was to do something that had never been done before. That's a really scary thing. But when you have the right people around you who believe in you and hype you and tell you that it's going to happen, and then you have that instinct, I mean, that's instinct that brought you to this. It is a movement. It's a movement. And we need to link up. And this is even going back to what Aisha was saying earlier, like find a way to do what you do, but do it for electing Kamala Harris. So that's exactly what Jenny's doing, right? She's using the sports community to get the vote out. And so these are the types of things we want to share so that we get inspired and we start to think about, how do I do that in my community? How do I think about organizing in a way that's not overwhelming to me, but is something that I can actually tangibly do? So thank you, Jenny. We're excited. We're all in. Like, tell us where to go. Game on. Let's do this. I've been to the bra. It's as good as you might think it is, where we normally in spaces have a strip of hype for women in sports. Every fucking inch of this place is covered. It's a dream. It's an actual dream. Okay, so Molly Ringwald, she just was like, I'll do this, but I can't be on live, so I'm gonna send a video. So we were like, you know what, Molly Ringwald, we'll make it work. That's fine. We would like to share your message with the world. And so Molly Ringwald, actor and writer. So many of us know her as like the 80s girl that next door. I see Alexandra fangirling over 16 Candles and such. We're going to hear from Molly.
Hi, I'm Molly Ringwald, and I'm so honored to be a part of this Hype for Harris campaign. For me, the most important aspect of having Harris, I mean, aside from an intelligently fierce, strong, admirable woman in the White House, to give all of us optimism that I think we've been lacking for a while. That to me has been the greatest gift. Women's rights are incredibly meaningful to me and my family, my men included in the family, not just the women. I've already had my kids. I have 3 kids. I have 2 daughters and 1 son, and I don't believe that it is right that they don't have the same privileges and the same choices that I have. I don't like at all where it's been going. My other priority, I think, safety in our country, the border needs to be dealt with, and of course, economy. And I think that Kamala has the intelligence and the follow-through and the clarity to be able to work with these people and to work across the aisle. And I'm just really delighted that she is making so many other people as excited as I am. So what's the third? I think the third is that I'm supposed to tell you something to hype about myself. Yeah, I'm not as good at that. Books I've translated that are really good, but because they're books and they don't get the marketing that other projects get, maybe people don't really know about them. One is called Lie With Me, which has been translated from the French to the English. I did the French-English part. And then the other book that I did is about a wonderful actress who's named Maria Schneider, and this was written by her first cousin about her life and what she went through. So these are 2 books that I spent a long time translating. I'm very proud of them. Pick them up, wherever you like to get books. But I'm really most excited about getting Kamala into the White House. So please join with me and let's make it happen. Thanks.
I wish Molly was live so I could be like, so the dress. I'm going to need the details on that because we've got opening, all the patterns. So we'll figure that out and we will make sure that everyone has access to that information as soon as possible. Okay, next up, we have Ayanna Parsons, wife, mother, entrepreneur, investor, and leadership expert. Ayanna's going to talk about all of the things that she's been up to lately, of which there are many. She may not mention, so I want to make sure that I do, that she was very recently named one of Time's closers. She's a Time Person of the Year, known as a closer because she gets shit done. Queen Ayanna.
Oh, Erin, I so love you. I'm just so honored to be here with all my hype women. And I know it's late, but this is important. And it is time for a change. I think we can all agree to that. And it's also time for a woman's brilliance and a woman's touch at the top of the house in the Oval Office. And I think you all will agree that there is no mountain that a woman can't move when she is given exposure, access, and opportunity to drive change. And that is what Kamala Harris represents for me. When I think about, my ask, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I have 2 young daughters, they're 5 and 12. And when I think about this future America that I want them to grow up in, my ask for Kamala is that she focuses tirelessly on both restoring and democratizing the American dream. It shouldn't be that only a select or chosen few have the opportunity at the best education or opportunities to receive the best healthcare, opportunities to create wealth, opportunities to create communities. We should all have a shot. Doesn't mean we're all going to get there, but we should all have a shot. I'm a big data person, so I want to give you guys some jewels. There's an organization called the Urban Institute, and they've got over 40 decades of research on the wealth gap in America. And the difference, and I'll just read a little bit of this, but the difference in wealth held by white, Black, and Hispanic families just continues to grow. In 1983, the average wealth of white families was about $320,000 higher than the average wealth of Black families and Hispanic families. You fast forward to 2022, white families' average wealth was more than a million higher than Blacks and Hispanics. That's equal to more than 6 times the wealth. Why should we care about this? We should care about this because when we solve for the wealth gap in this country, then we can solve for all of the other disparities that exist across education, access to healthcare, the network gap, the housing gap. This is about equity. And I will tell you, as someone who has, been on the front lines for a long time, and for those that don't know, I was also co-founder of the first VC fund founded by women of color, and we were focused on women of color because they represent 20% of America. They're the most founded, yet the least funded. They get 0.39% of funding. The inequities are just exhausting. And the battles and the hurdles that we have to face are too. I never could have imagined that I would have gotten hit with a federal lawsuit just for trying to help those that have been most marginalized and most underrepresented and most overlooked. But that's where we are. And I believe that if Kamala focuses on that democratization, that restoring of the American dream so that everybody has at least an equal shot, doesn't mean we all get there, then I will feel so much better about this America that hopefully my daughters will be experiencing as young girls and young women. Now, how can you hype Kamala? All of you have said so many great things. I don't know that I have too much to add, but continue to volunteer your time, continue to volunteer your voices. Forums like this, where we're spreading the word, not just amongst, the already sort of committed, but to those that are on the fence and on the line. Talk about what you believe Kamala can and will do for this country so we can instill that hope that I know some of you have talked about that is so important. Donate to resources, whether it's money, again, time, phones, all the things to help bring her into the White House, because again, it is time for change, and White House at the #1 seat. Last but not least, how can you hype me? I don't know, go to my website, AyannaParsons.com, AyannaParsons. Sign up for updates, stay abreast of all the things I'm doing. I'm working on my first book, which I'm really excited about, and God willing, that will come out in 2025, but it's a memoir and it's going to talk about wealth, because I've been one of those select few, as many of you in this virtual room are, who have reached the pinnacle. But there are so many people behind us that deserve a shot to have the same opportunities, the same exposure, and the same access. So follow me for my website, get those updates, and when the book comes out, support it.
Oh, we're gonna do a big old book launch.
Thank you, Erin.
I think we get on a bus. Wouldn't it be fun if we were all on a bus? Like, that would be fun. I mean, we'd stop at hotels because I'm not trying to sleep on a bus, but yes, we will be there. We will be hyping your book. What the work that you have done to invest in women of color and Black women in particular is the most critical work that we have to do. And I know that it has been a battle, and you have continued to fight, and we are here. We are here to take that torch from you. You can't do this by yourself all the time. And I think it's another important point that Ayanna just made. When we see the lack of women and people of color, and in particular women of color, in positions of power and influence and leadership, it has nothing to do with ability, aspiration, or ambition. It has everything to do with access. That's it. So when we solve that problem, yes, like Ayanna said, not everyone is going to be the CEO of something, but if they have the ambition and the ability and the aspiration, then they sure as hell better have a shot at it. And that's what we're here to really change going forward. So thank you, Ayanna. I appreciate you so much. Just, chilling with Issa Rae behind you, it's totally fine. It's like absolutely fine. You're just trying to be like relaxed about it. I'm not relaxed about it. Okay, so next we are going over to Tara Ryan. And Tara is a certified professional coach, fair play facilitator, and mother's rights activist. And I asked Tara to come on for a very specific reason that she's going to talk to you about, because this message is one that we need to spread.
Wow. Thank you, Erin. United here together with all of you is such a wonderful place to be. In 2016, I was a registered Republican and I voted for Donald Trump. And I'm sorry. The night he was elected, I felt sick to my stomach. I can remember sitting in my parents' living room, the only one awake, glued to the TV, with tears like they're almost going to come down on my face now, streaming down my face. I hadn't wavered, though, in my decision to support him the entire election season. But when I actually saw it play out, something I took part in making happen, it felt like my entire gut was going to fall out of my body, and regret completely washed over me. After the election, though, I knew I needed to do the tough internal work. I explored the unconscious and conscious beliefs passed down through generations before me, along with our societal definition of success that is shaped by power, money, and self, and the harmful expectations and pressures that are put on women, especially women of color. My self-exploration gave me the language to understand that what was happening, those gut-wrenching feelings that I was having on election night, were actually a visceral reaction to the complete disconnect between my true values and my vote. I came out the other side, not a different person, but rather a person who is starting to unravel her understanding of the patriarchy and racism, along with an understanding of herself and her true values and her story. We here tonight are all hype women for Harris. But the reality is there are still people out there who are where I was in 2016, conforming and unaware. Those women are not the opposition. They are our opportunity. And I want to challenge all of us to take a different approach, one that connects us and have those difficult conversations, but in a way that encourages others to explore themselves. I myself now have a brilliant, curious, busy, and often challenging nearly 2-year-old daughter. And we together have a real shot at creating America where the first president of the United States that she remembers is a woman who values care, humanity, and truth above everything else. And I want to share, we're going to share with you a free resource that I created in partnership with one of my hype women, Ariel, who is watching this call, and the Chamber of Mothers, a bipartisan nonprofit that helps people reflect. It's a reflection guide to help us vote with our values for all of us. And my values stand for issues like paid family medical leave, reproductive freedoms, improved maternal health outcomes, affordable and accessible childcare. And I know that Vice President Kamala Harris prioritizes those things. I want to leave you with this thought tonight. One, especially for all of us white women like myself on the call, in addition to the rallies and the Zoom calls, let's not forget about doing that quiet but critical, never-ending internal work. If you want to join me on mine, here's how you can hype me. You can follow my Substack, Valuing Care, and let's embody what it means to truly be a hype woman. Let's elect Kamala Harris as our next president of the United States, and then the fight truly begins. It's not over. So thank you so much.
Kara, I'm so grateful for you. I'm grateful for you being vulnerable and for you sharing and for letting us know what it's like to sort of have gone through that, because women that have experienced that same experience as you, they are in our midst. And so I think the most critical sentence that you said was, they are not our opposition, they are our opportunity. And so we have to figure out how to have that conversation to say, I don't think you are voting for what you think you're voting for. So can we really just get down to it and talk to you about what you think you're going to get from this? And then I want to bring up why that is a dystopian view of the reality that is going to occur. So these are the types of conversations we need to be having. This is the type of information we're going to continue to share with everyone so that you can have that conversation with, you know, the chick from high school you haven't talked to in 25 years, but she's coming up in your Facebook group, and you do want to say, hey, I'm seeing this and I have a question. And so I find sometimes that the best way to start a conversation with someone that you know is going to be difficult is not to tell them what you think they need to do, but to ask them a question about why they're making that choice. So thank you so much, Tara. We are still staying strong. Everyone's doing great. Stay hydrated, drink some water. I'm proud of you all. I apologize for underestimating the length of the time of this call, but I, again, am still not regretting it. So I hope you're not regretting it either. We have a few more amazing women. Stay with us till the end because you need to hear from every single one of them. And the next woman that you're going to hear from is Daisy Auger-Dominguez, speaker, author, and workplace strategist. Daisy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I am so over the moon to be on this call with so many friends and incredible humans that I totally fangirl over. Erin, you're a gift to the world, it must be said. I am reaching out to you today from the Raizado Festival in Aspen, which was created by Monica Ramirez, Olga Segura, and the Latinx House to celebrate and honor the profound contributions of Latinx people to our society. The festival's name, Raizado, comes from the Spanish word meaning deeply rooted, reflecting the enduring presence and influence of our community in the United States and beyond. And truly, what could be more American and Latino than this call, where we are uniting in the fight for freedom, this time ensuring everyone's freedom is protected. And I wanted to share why I am all in for presidential candidate Kamala Harris. There's many reasons, but especially because she has consistently proven herself as a leader who champions women's rights, particularly our right to make decisions about our own bodies. As a Latina, a woman of color, and a mother to a 16-year-old magical daughter, I dream of a future where every woman, especially those of color, can walk anywhere in this country feeling seen, valued, dignified, and safe. And presidential candidate Kamala Harris embodies this vision. Her presidency wouldn't just be a milestone, it would be a monumental shift toward a world where all of us can thrive with the respect and dignity that we deserve. And here's what I know. Our lives and our future hang in the balance. My ask of presidential candidate, nominee, Kamala Harris, is the same as I would make of any leader with vision. Lead with unwavering courage to center those who have been most marginalized. Black, Latina, Asian, Indigenous women, immigrants, LGBTQIA, non-normative persons, persons with disabilities. Our voices must not just be heard, but must guide the very foundation of this country's progress. This means moving beyond rhetoric to build the infrastructure, the systems, the processes that ensure these needs are permanently secured. Because when the needs of our most marginalized are met, we've said this tonight, we all rise. And presidential nominee Kamala Harris's leadership must be a beacon that amplifies those who have long been silenced, elevating their struggles and aspirations to the forefront of our collective progress. Now, I keep on saying presidential nominee or candidate Kamala Harris because I know we like to use her first name, but we don't do that with men. So I want to give her the respect that is due to her. And her success is our success. And it's going to take all of us, every moment, every conversation, every action to make sure that she leads the charge. Deep and sustained collaboration is going to be necessary, but that is easier said than done. And our history has shown that we're messy when it comes to collaboration. Discomfort is an inevitable result of confronting the places where we've fallen short. But discomfort, it's okay. It should be uncomfortable to hear about the times when we have let each other down or where we have fallen short, because every day is an opportunity to transform those events, these moments, these conversations into catalysts for sustained change by transforming ourselves and mobilizing, informing, and energizing our communities. I also want to encourage us to support organizations like Higher Heights, Latino Victory, Voto Latino, Supermajority, and countless others who are on the front lines of addressing the critical issues that we face. This is the spirit of Hype Women, standing together, lifting each other up, and shaping the agenda that President Harris will champion. Now, generosity is the cornerstone of progress, and Erin has asked all of us in the spirit of Hype Women to amplify each other's work and our own, which is why I'm so grateful to be sharing my one ask tonight. Well, maybe two. Pre-order my new book, Burnt Out to Lit Up, How to Reignite the Joy of Leading People, which launches on September 18th. Pre-orders are the lifeblood of books. This is my invite to ask you to support me. You can also invite me to your podcast. As you can tell, I speak, and I speak a lot. And I want to talk about how to manage stress, how to foster joy, how to empower ourselves and our teams to serve our highest and best use. I love to talk about this because this is not just a book. It's a movement to create healthier, more compassionate, and more courageous workplaces, because the world needs all of us. Together we will rise, and I am grateful to be here with all of you. Thank you.
Daisy, we are pre-ordering tonight. We are pre-ordering multiple copies tonight. I am obsessed with the fact that we have so many women who are authors on this call who have books coming out. There has never been a better time for us to be reading the stories of women, the stories of women of color in particular. And we know the other story, and we've seen it all the time. These are the stories we need to hear. I'm grateful that you're taking the time to put them on paper so that we can consume them. So we will show up for you in that pre-order line and share it and hype it far and wide. Okay, next up, we have Leam Thomas, the founder of Mama Glow and the Mama Glow Foundation, and visiting professor of the practice of gender and sexuality studies at Brown University, which I applied to and was firmly rejected from. Leam, over to you.
Thank you so much, Erin. Can you all hear me? Beautiful. I'm so grateful to be here this evening. One thing I wanted to add to Daisy is that she has a book party in Brooklyn that she meant to tell you all about. And it's going to be at our space in Brooklyn called the Soft Space. So check her out and find out details how you can join her at that in September. So good evening, everyone. Thank you for hanging out with us this long. I know it's been a minute, but I hope you're eating and staying hydrated and enjoying. I have felt so full by all of that has been shared this evening. You know, I'm thankful to be in a room of titans, and women are so committed to change. I'm a mother, and I think back to the fact that my son is now 21, and this is his first election that we get to vote in together. And I took him to the inauguration for President Obama when he was 5 years old. And so he was able to see for the first time a Black male president. He only knows possibility, right? He also worked for Hillary Clinton's campaign as a DJ. So he was on the campaign with her, and we all hoped for what would be a different outcome. But what I know is possible, and what will happen is that my son will now be able to see the first Black, female, and Indian president step into this White House, and he will see that in his lifetime. And so I'm so thankful for this moment that we live in, and for those of us who have children, for them to see possibility and shattered ceilings. As Erin shared, my name is Leam Thomas, and I'm the founder of a global maternal health and education platform called Mama Glow and the Mama Glow Foundation. We work to improve maternal health outcomes through doula training, through workforce development, doula matching services for families, and we work with healthcare systems and insurance companies to design doula benefits so that we can be in the forefront of addressing the maternal health crisis in this country. I've had the pleasure of working on various bills and bill revisions alongside VP Harris when she was a senator, actually, and a member of the Black Maternal Health Caucus. And I've seen her commitment in action in a country that we're navigating a maternal health crisis in, where Black women are 3 to 4 times more likely than white women to die during childbirth or due to childbirth-related causes. We need a president who not only understands the unique needs of the most vulnerable and the most marginalized, but who can actually take action to improve the lives of birthing people in this country, all birthing people in this country. And we need a president who also understands bodily autonomy, who believes that our healthcare decisions are our own damn business. That I know for a fact that maternal health is a priority for VP Harris. We also know that reproductive justice is a priority for her. And so my ask for President Harris will be that we enact comprehensive legislation that protects birthing people in this country, that protects the right to access safe and private abortion care if we seek to terminate a pregnancy, that we enact a federal paid leave policy for parents in this country, because 1 in 4 women and birthing individuals head back to work 10 to 14 days after having a baby. And we are the only nation in the developed so-called developed world that doesn't have a federal paid leave policy in place. And so our hope and the vision that I have as I think about all of the tools that our ancestors have left for us for visioning, I think about our literary ancestors like Audre Lorde and Octavia Butler, who gave us Afrofuturism as a lens to envision a future of our own design that's outside of what we know in this reality. We can think beyond the confines of what already exists and actually build a future. And so I hope that this administration will be committed to coalition building and resourcing from communities and community-based organizations across the country that are leading ground-based efforts and creating solution. Because this is how it happens and where it's possible. All of the solutions bubble up in community. And so I encourage you all to support in ways that inspire you, that make you feel good, that uplift you. Use your voices. We're powerful in coalition, as you see tonight. And also, it's been said a lot this evening to have those difficult conversations, especially with people who are not like you. Invite people in and help them to sit alongside you and see a vision for the future. I also ask that you think about the type of person that you are in this moment. And I'm putting us into 2 buckets. I'm putting us into the buckets of those who build things up and those who tear things down. And we need people who can deconstruct, who can blow things up, who can tear things down brick by brick so that we can construct something new. And we also need people who are committed to building a future and who are laying bricks and envisioning and building a design so that the thing that's crumbling will be left behind. And when we turn to the future, there will be a place for all of us, and it will be built and it'll be ready for us. And so decide where your skills best lie so that you can either be a part of breaking things down or building things back up as we work on our future. I want to say that there's a couple of things that I'd like to ask. I already shared that Daisy is having an event at our space that's newly opened in Brooklyn called the Soft Space, which is a space that was born out of a vision and need for Black women specifically, but all women to have a soft place to land. And it's an incredible new space in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and we hope you'll join us there. And you can follow me at Glow Maven on Instagram if you're interested. But the thing that I would love support with is that we have a festival that's back for the 4th time in 3 years called the Doula Expo by Mama Glow. And it's the first of its kind. It's a culture shifting festival that centers a vision for the future of birth work. And it's October 5th and 6th. It's in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. And you can sponsor, you can attend, you can participate, you can purchase tickets for those in need. And you can learn more. You can go to doulaexpo.com or email us at info@mamaglow. And if you're more interested in birth work and being on the ground and helping people have safe and healthy birth, which is what we have 3,000 doulas that I've trained across the country doing, then you can join us for a professional training program that we have. And as Erin said, I'm a professor at Brown where I also teach this course, and it's the first time ever in history that a course like this that centers the marginalized experience of birthing individuals is embedded in an Ivy League university. So if that's interesting for you, we hope that you'll join us. Thank you so much for this opportunity, to be in community with you all this evening. We love you so much. There's so much work to be done. So let's just continue to keep our hearts soft and open. And ourselves ready to do the work. So thank you. Thank you so much, Erin.
Latham wears a unicorn necklace around her neck because she is a goddamn unicorn. A goddamn unicorn. Thank you for building the spaces physically and psychologically and emotionally and metaphorically that are necessary that haven't been there before, and for pushing an institution like Brown to have a course that covers this much needed work. This is the work, right? This is the work. It looks very different for all of us. It needs to be happening simultaneously in all of these places. We need to all be doing this within the capacity that we have, along whatever that continuum of capacity is. So grateful for you, Latham. We will be at all the parties. Got lots of parties after this. Need to make a calendar so that we are not overlapping and we're coordinating. And then we'll get a bra in Williamsburg. It's just gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Okay. Next, we are headed over to Lauren Ruotolo. And Lauren is an amazing woman, a disability advocate, an author, and an executive producer. And she may just whip around some of her hardware while she speaks on this call.
Thank you, Erin. It is such a pleasure to be here. I cannot tell you, after just listening to everybody on this call and really speaking not only from your heart, but speaking from your head and how to help everyone. And I think that that's what this community of women and men and trans and everyone around us is feeling right now. They're feeling a sense of community immediately. And I am here to represent the 70 million people in this country that are disabled. And to be honest, these are my fabulous hand jewelry, I call them. And I wear them, and I wear them proud. And I wear fashion proud, and I wear stilettos, and I'm 4'0" and I walk with crutches, and I just do everything that I've ever wanted to do. And I think that that's what Kamala stands for, is that she never said, I can't be. Everyone in my life told me that I could never. Well, they told me that I could never walk and that I could never do XYZ and I can never walk in shoes. That was like insane to every single doctor around me. But you know what? I did it and I am doing it. And that's what she represents. She represents everyone who is doing it, with the fact that everyone all the time said that she couldn't, but not just her, but all women. And any single person that wanted to be more, that wanted a better outcome, that didn't want the status quo. I didn't want the status quo for me. You know why? Because the status quo is every single person wants to be the producer of my life. Well, why don't you all step aside and let me just walk and let me just lead? And that is what Kamala and this whole movement is truly standing for. And you know what? I am happy to stand as little as I am and scream and show these and wear the flag and do whatever I can and take people. And I ask every single person here is, if you see a disabled person, no matter what is wrong with them, help them get to the voting centers. Help them in any which way. Say, we are with you, because you know what? We have never been part of DE&I. We are not part of anything. We are always the last. And you know what? It's time for us to reshape what we look like and who we are. Because you know what? It may be scary to you, but if you just give us a minute, I guarantee you that our disability will wash away and we will just be known as people. And I'm just a person who needs these. That's the difference. And you know what? Sometimes they're decorated, sometimes they're not, sometimes they're purple, sometimes they're black, whatever it may be. Is like, it's just a piece of hardware, Erin, like you said. And you know what? The hardware has given me this voice. And whatever your superpower is, mine is my crutches. And when I say that to people, they are scared of it. But you know what? It's not scary. If it should be scary for anybody, it should be scary for me, because I'm the one that lives in it. And I'm the one that has to have this superpower and tell people when I was 5 years old, no, I am never going to stand. I'm never going to sit. I am always going to stand. And you know what? We talked about women's sports and we talked about women doing things. I had to train like I was an Olympian in order just to take 5 steps forward. And you know what? I did it. And that's what this entire campaign, it's all of a sudden we have everyone cheering for everyone. And I don't remember the last time in this country that we have had that. And so what I ask from everyone on this call and everyone watching, and for Kamala and for the entire campaign, is just to include all and to make sure that she is committed to what Biden and her have already put a stamp on. They are fighting for healthcare for all. Do you know what we all, the entire human race, we all have one thing in common. And does anybody know what that is? That's our health. If we don't have our health, we don't have anything. And every single person, no matter who you are, where you live, whatever income, is our health. And if we give it to Trump, he will eliminate that. He will eliminate science completely. When he was in office, he did everything he could to eliminate money from the NIH and to make sure that people like me were not included. And the way that he speaks about the disabled and the things that he has said to his own family, the fact that even his youngest son, he won't allow in public because he is different, just showcases the kind of man that he is, and that he only cares about power and success and how people look at him. The other administration right now and for tomorrow cares about all people, and we need to start thinking about that. We need to include everybody, because we cannot allow people to be the producers of our lives. We just cannot. So what I ask you is to change the way you look at people that are disabled today and tomorrow, and start including us. For everyone that spoke about, whether it be sports or transgender or fashion, everybody on this call deserves to be part of a community, no matter if you walk with hardware or not, or a little slower, or have mental health issues. We all need to be a part of it. You know, for example, today, there were 10 new drugs that are going to be discounted by 2026, which will help anyone that is sick, anyone that has diabetes, anybody that has heart disease. These are all things that affect all people, but they especially will help the Black and brown communities. And this is what we need. We need a president that thinks about that. And you know what? And we need a woman president to do it, because she will step on people with those stilettos and with those platforms and with anyone and just say, move aside, everybody matters, and I'm going to show you how. And that's what we all need. And with that being said, how can you hype me? Yes, I'm an author. I wrote a book called Unstoppable in Stilettos. If you all want to buy it, fabulous. And it's a great book. It's about my life thus far. I still have a whole life to live. And the fact is that the next time you see somebody, whether they're rolling past you, walking with crutches, they may need a little bit of help. They may, children, is to not be afraid of them, to sit down and talk to them like they are people. And constantly, no matter what you do, include them in the conversation. We are not only 70 million people strong here in the United States, but 15% of the world's population. That's over 1 billion people. And I don't think that anyone has ever thought about that. Over 1 billion people in this world are disabled, and we belong, and we need to move forward and be part of the conversation, every DE&I ever conversation. And you know what? I believe with my whole heart that if we elect Kamala, that she will keep on including and keep on striving to make sure that people with disabilities are not only part of her team, but are a part of all teams, that children can have better parks, that people can get on railroads that they've never been able to. If you think about all the changes that people with disabilities and the innovation that we have created helps every single person on this planet. We make it easier for everybody. And that's all that anybody should think about. And just think about inclusion and just, like I said, just stop being the producers of people's lives and invite them into your party because we belong. And I appreciate Erin.
You belong, Lauren. You belong here.
You
This
are a dream.
This is a space. This is our space. We're creating we're making these spaces exist in areas where we have been told they don't belong. We belong. You belong. And all of the ways that we show up differently make us more unique and better and are going to help us to create a more inclusive world. And so thank you for sharing all of that perspective and for giving us some of the language and the tools to think about how we are also teaching our children to be more empathetic and to know that people aren't different. When you expose children to diversity, they recognize that that is the norm. It's when you keep them from people that aren't like them that they start to get really confused and not understand. So that is our job as parents and this next generation, and we will keep doing the damn work. Okay, y'all, we have 5 more incredible women. It's our final 5. And they are going to take us through, and then we're going to take like a big nap, and then we're going to get up tomorrow and we're going to do it all again. Not this exact thing all again, but it, meaning how are you going to take that step tomorrow in one of those 3 areas: fundraising, donating, and voting, to help move us forward. And again, I hope as you're listening, you're getting inspired, you're donating to the fund that we are pulling together that goes directly to the Harris campaign, because we want to make sure that we show her that we are a coalition. We're building a coalition of diverse individuals who have requests and real demands that we want to be heard and we want to help see through. That's the other thing. This is not something we're passing off. Okay, so final 5. Here we go, y'all. Melanie Newman taking us into the home stretch, helping to bring up the caboose, SVP of Comms and Culture at Planned Parenthood Action Fund. I'm deeply grateful, Melanie, for Planned Parenthood. I had my first abortion as a 20-year-old woman at the University of Michigan when I was a junior in college at the Planned Parenthood, and it saved my life.
Thank you so much, Erin. Thank you so much, everybody. This is such an incredible call. It's been really amazing to hear everybody's stories. As Erin said, I am Melanie Newman. I'm the Senior Vice President for Communications at Planned Parenthood Action Fund. You've heard it tonight, y'all. We are living in a moment, and not just because of the last 25 days of the campaign. It's been 2 years since the Supreme Court took away our constitutional right to abortion. Since then, 22 states have banned abortion, affecting 43% of women of reproductive age and more gender-expansive folks. More than half of Black women live in states that have banned abortion. And we all know what this is about. This is about power and control. It's at the expense of our bodies, our lives, and our futures. And Donald Trump did this. If he gets back into power, he's going to be coming immediately for a national abortion ban. He's coming after birth control. They're coming after IVF. We cannot allow the Republicans to pretend or deny or have convenient changes of heart. We see him, we've got the receipts in Project 2025. We know what's coming.
But you know who really has the power? All of us know, because we've been talking about it. We do. We're going to decide. Trump and his allies, they are not like us. They think they know better than the patients. They know better than providers. They think they know better than the 80% of Americans who want to make our own healthcare decisions and who believe that abortion should be legal. They really believe they should be the ones to decide every aspect of our lives. But that's why we're here, because we don't want them to decide. We want to decide. Donald Trump spent his 4 years in office taking away our rights and the lingering effects of the judicial system in the years since. And he wants to do it even more. But Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, they're fighting every day to safeguard our rights. Vice President Harris has spent 4 years protecting patients and providers, speaking to patients and providers, touring around the country, defending freedom and democracy. She was the first sitting vice president or president to visit a Planned Parenthood health center. And guess who was there with her on that tour that day? It was Tim Walz. It was in Minnesota. And let's just say it was meant to be. They're going to be the true fighters for reproductive freedom, and we've got to fight like hell to get them to the White House. What I will say is that in the 2 years since the Dobbs decision, we have proof. Everywhere abortion has been on the ballot, we have won. And we're going to keep winning in 2024. We're going to send Kamala and Tim to the White House. We're going to win the U.S. House. We're going to win the Senate, and all up and down the ballot. In this moment, hype women like all of us fuel the momentum. We are the majority. We are the power in this moment. And this November, we are going to get the politicians out of our exam rooms. We're going to expand access in the 7 states with abortion on the ballot. And we're still waiting for 2 more to certify. We're going to ensure that our federal champions in Congress pass legislation to protect abortion nationwide. And then we're going to have Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in the White House to sign that legislation. Because this November, we decide, guys. Let's get this done. If you want to join the fight for our health and rights, please visit www.plannedparenthoodaction.org. Get your pink shirt, volunteer with us, register friends and family to vote. Talk to your friends and family at the dinner table. Let's get out the vote this year. Thanks so much for having me, Erin. Thanks so much to my friends on this call, my friends in real life, some of my friends in real life and some of my friends in my head. That's been really exciting, great conversation, and I'm proud to be here.
All of the friends in your head are now your friends in real life. That's the cool thing about this. Planned Parenthood is a cornerstone of women's reproductive freedom, and we are so grateful for the work you do, and we're here to support you and to have your back. And so we will make sure that we're sharing all this information with everyone. And every day, Melanie, grateful, so grateful for you. Okay, final four. Miri Rodriguez, she's coming at us. Oh, I can feel the energy already because that's what Miri's like. CEO of Impressa.ai and owner of Be Mindful, Be Happy. And of course, we have another author, y'all, because women who write books are women who put their heart out into the world. So of course, they're going to come and be on a call like this and take that risk. And we are so grateful for it. Miri, take the stage.
Erin, so happy to be here. I am overwhelmed with emotion to hear all of these stories. I'm literally, I have chills right now. Just every story has been just so powerful, so filled with heart and emotion. And it's just the collective of our stories. It just makes us who we are today. And, the hope is the word of the night. I think we could safely say hope is the word of the night. And when I think about hope, I think of my personal hope. I think about when I came to this country when I was 13 years old as a Venezuelan immigrant. I stepped into a career in technology. I work at Microsoft. And I stepped into this boardroom for the first time, and there was all men, and I was just the only woman there. And I was asked to bring coffee. Oh, Miri's here. She can get the coffee for all of us, Other women bullying me or, because they were afraid that I would take their jobs eventually. They wouldn't mentor me. I mean, there's just so many stories we all have and we've all seen and experienced, each in our own spaces and geographic spaces and heart spaces. And I think about that hope in this space, and I go, if I'm really honest, I'm like, I wonder if this hope is real. for me. I wonder if can a woman president drive the change in the systems and the institutions and the cultures that have been so deeply embedded and multi-layered in injustices and its discriminations and darkness for all of us here. And I got to tell you, I was reading a little bit about this woman. You may have heard of her, maybe not. I'll tell you a story because I'm a storyteller. Her name is Sirimavo Bandaranaike. I think that's her last name, Sirimavo Bandaranaike. And it was a woman who campaigned to become prime minister in Sri Lanka after her husband was assassinated. So this woman, being a mother, a widow now, and now campaigning for democracy, and she did become the first woman head of government in the modern world. And when you look at her story, 64 years ago, Sri Lanka is still reeling from that hope. She, in her term, because I was like, will this happen in 4 years? Will when Kamala hits the office, what will be? Will there be enough change? Will there be immediate change? And I don't know. I don't know. But then I look at the story, and this woman, in her time, there were social welfare reforms, economic development, reforms that benefited the native population, significant progress in education and healthcare, diplomatic relations, peace initiatives, amongst so many others. You can Google it. You can look it up. Today, in a country far away from Sri Lanka, we're here. We're gathered with similar sense of hope and possibility. And I was asked, what would you ask of Kamala when she takes office? And I thought about this question. I was like, what do I say? What do I say to that? And honestly, what I want to say is we cannot ask of Kamala the things that we cannot do for ourselves. And here's the things that we have to do in this collective. We have to represent our strength, our intelligence, and our grace, and our power, and our passion. We have to represent that. And we're doing that. And thank you, Erin, for giving us this platform to do that. This platform and beyond, all of us individually, we have to share our stories. This is our most powerful tool, the most powerful thing that we have. It's our biggest currency, more than a dollar, by the way, because the stories will tell, the stories will transcend history. If we tell our stories, if we talk about our own, what we're doing here, if this happens more and more, and we each talk about our personal lived experiences and how we're driving this in a country that is supposed to give us all the opportunities to become who we want to become. And we have so many layered systems that don't allow us to, then if we tell those stories, they get passed down. The money may stop, but those get passed down. So tell our stories, and then hype each other up. And I'm so grateful, Erin, to you. I just have to say thank you so much for this opportunity for all of us to hype each other up. The minute I gave you my phone number, you were on it. You just called me like, hey, Miri, let's do this. And I was just like, whoa, that was really fast. Like you're doing this, and it's so powerful. And so I'm just grateful for that. And when you ask the question, how can you hype me? I want you to hype me by helping me hype other women. We are starting, I'm just announcing, launching Impresa AI. It's the first AI by women and for women, the very first one that exists today. It is actually powered by Microsoft. So it's a really rare thing. I am an employee and I'm also a partner now. This is insane. The first woman, I think, that has done this. And I love to say that because it's actually for us. It actually celebrates women experts and women like you and I. It's going to deliver bespoke advice solutions for women. We've heard the stats, and you can find those on my website, impresa.ai, about women who are entrepreneurs who don't get the funding that they need. I mean, just again, all the things we heard today. I'm not going to give you all the stats. You can find them on the website, but Impresa.ai is going to help all of us. I promise you, I did this out of a heart of giving back, of my own experiences, of my own failures and my losses, and everything that's happened to me. And this is why we're all here, because of things that have happened to us. So an extension of Hype Women is Impresa.ai. An extension of Impresa.ai is you and I telling our stories so that beyond the hope, we drive real things that are happening. We get to know each other in an empathetic platform that all of us get to understand, and we get to see each other truly, 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 not because we heard it somewhere, or not because news announced it. We get through the propaganda, we get through the algorithms, the stories get through that. So tell your stories, continue to share these stories, continue to tell your own stories and tell somebody else's stories, and let's tell the Kamala story, because she's going to help us do more. She's going to help us in the 4 years. I was like, could she do that? Somebody did already. And a woman in Sri Lanka did. And she probably didn't have all the resources we have today, all the backup that we have, and all the technology we have today. Let's leverage technology. Men do it all the time. Let's leverage everything we have. And today we have a beautiful technology called AI. Let's leverage it for us, for women, and for Kamala. Thank you so much.
Hell yes, sister. we need you. We need you in that seat. We need the perspective of women to be creating the technology that is driving the next generation of our economy. And so grateful that you are taking that on, and you are not alone. You have us with you, and we will be there to hype you every single day. Thank you so much, Miri. Okay, we are headed over to Niha Rush, the founder of Mother Untitled and the author of another author, y'all. Her book's coming out in January 2025, The Power Pause. Niha, over to you.
Oh, thank you, Erin. What an incredible lineup. I'm going to keep this quick relatively, just because there's just been so many wonderful voices to digest. And I know we have 3 incredible other women coming up. I'll tell you, when you asked me, Erin, I thought, well, there's the obvious, right? I'm Indian, I'm a woman, I have biracial children, I'm an immigrant myself, my kids are children of immigrants. None of that is why I want Kamala in office. You know, I think that because of the work I do in helping empower women on career pauses, I've gotten a front row seat in post-pandemic America. We have been at this incredible moment. It's albeit really messy moment of recalibration, re-examination of work, of family, of identity, of allyship. And I think when things are ripe, there's so much incredible potential. But when things are ripe, we're also really tender. So there's a lot of risk. We can get squished. And so what we need when we're at this incredibly ripe moment full of so much possibility is a lot of care and a lot of goodness to move us in the right direction. A direction where mothers are respected, families are supported, real people are taken care of. And I know that's Kamala and Tim, because that's who they are. They're real people. And so my ask of them is just be real to themselves, keep what they're talking about on this campaign trail, specifically all the family policy that they're discussing, keep it on the agenda. And then my ask of everyone here is, as everyone said, and I talk about in the context of removing the stay-at-home and working mother divide, we are better together. We are more alike than we are different. We are evolving. We are ever shifting. Let's come together, get curious, and pull each other in for the next fight and for the next 3 months. Thank you, Erin, and thank you, everyone, for having me.
Thank you, Niha. We're so grateful for you. Hit that pre-order, y'all. Okay, we need to hit that pre-order, because this is how we get amazing women onto the bestseller list. This is how men do it. They talk to each other and they ask each other to do things, and then they go and they do them, largely because they have a lot more fucking time and resources and money. But we can do this. We can pre-order the books of the women whose voices need to be heard in the world and recognized and rewarded. So we're going to do that. And then I think one more thing I wanted to say about what Niha just said is that when Tim and Kamala are themselves and they get pushback, we have to step up to have their back and to help them be different in the way they lead than we've ever seen before, because they're gonna get pushback, because a system that is not built by and for people does not like to change. And so when we see it, we have to step up too, so that they feel that collective power of all of us. Okay, we have 2 more amazing ladies. So grateful to have Monica Podman with us right now, the co-host, co-producer, and co-creator of Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard, blah, blah, blah. It's Monica's show, okay? And now she's gonna bring us the gift of her.
Hello, thank you so much, Erin. Thanks for having me. It's such an honor to be amongst everyone on this call today. So special. I'm going to keep it really tight because our final speaker is a killer. So much cooler than me. So we'll get past this. But I really wanted to sort of speak to the identity piece here. You know, my parents are Indian immigrants, and there's a lot of talk about what makes America great. And I think what makes America great is that in one generation, you can go from a woman living in India to a daughter who's the president of the United States. So that's huge. And I feel when I see her, I grew up sort of, and this is sad, but I grew up in Georgia, and I was very much just wanting to be a white person. I wanted to assimilate. I wanted to strip any identity markers from myself to be like everybody else. And my hope, and we're already moving in that direction, but my hope is that if we have a person of color, a woman, as the most powerful person in the world, that young girls and boys and anyone can look and not want to do that can look at themselves and say, I have things to offer here. I don't need to be like everybody else. I can come to the forefront as me. And that, breeds confidence from an early age, which is all we need. I'm also going to speak to one more voting block that I think often gets overlooked, but is a huge component, which is single women, which is me. And, I think it's important because obviously mothers are heroes. They do everything. I can't imagine life without my mom, but single women make life possible. They make the wheels turn. They make mothers able to mother. I notice it in my own life, and I notice it from people around me, that even when there's like really, really strong working environments, there's often a single woman somewhere in the background holding up the infrastructure. And I've frozen my eggs twice. I put my own personal, maternal goals aside so that I could do this. And I guess I'm just hoping that we can remember that people are doing that and to help protect them, because we might be on different timelines, but it is for the greater good and it is for everyone. And so I'm just so grateful that Kamala and Tim are speaking out so loudly about these pieces, and they're really important. And I love that everyone on this call has sort of brought something different to the table here. I do think when women come together, we cover the whole spectrum and are so powerful. I mean, there's nothing like it. I've worked with men and I've worked with women, and the collaboration with women is so spectacular and so above the sum of its parts. So I'm just grateful to be here. I think together we can really do this, and I'm proud of all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. We're proud of all of us. We're proud of you. And God damn, single women get it done. Okay. Like we need women to choose themselves first in every phase of life, and then to welcome in whatever the direction is that they want to go. But I think it's important, whatever a person's choice is over the course of their life, a woman deciding whether or not she's interested in marriage or not, children or not, a career or not, whatever it looks like, at every one of those phases, we deserve to take a moment to pause and to meet ourselves again, because we keep changing over time. And so I am not the person I was when I was 20. I mean, those outfits were like really fire though. Like literally nothing had a back on it, nothing. But I had a lot of other priorities at that time, and I'm different now, and I fucking love her. She's in there, and I have to take care of her too and protect her. And I have to see her in other women. And we have to stop seeing women that we were at one point and being resentful and being jealous and being envious, because I've been told that the way I define these two words is not correct, and I don't really fucking care, because why does Webster get to decide everything? I've been told by my therapist, and I've been in therapy for 25 years, so I have a lot of expertise in this space. Jealousy is when you want something that someone else has. Envy is when you don't want them to have what they have. And if we're having that feeling about each other, we are wasting our energy. So we're not going to do that to each other anymore. And if we have women in our life that make us feel that way, we're going to address it. And if they don't want to change, we're going to move on. and we're going to limit their access to us because we have to protect our energy. We have 82 days, y'all. We have 82 days. We have got to protect our energy. Okay. Demi Moore. I mean, she decided that she was going to do this, and we've been talking to her for a bit, and we weren't sure if it was going to happen, and she's been traveling. And she was devastated to be overseas during this call time. And so she said, I'm going to create a video, and I'm nervous, and I am scared about what I want to say, but I'm going to do it anyway. And so Demi did it, and she sent it to us.
Hi, so I'm Demi Moore. I'm excited but nervous to be here. I am not the most knowledgeable political person, but I am a daughter, a sister, a mother, and a grandmother. And so I'm here because I had the opportunity and pleasure to meet Harris. And in our brief conversation, what came out is that none of us can afford to be on the sidelines. And so I am here because we cannot afford to be on the sidelines, ready to see our country unified, to see joy brought back, to see a point of view and perception of the glass half full, not half empty. Each and every one of us deserves to be treated with dignity. As a mother of 3 daughters and the grandmother of a granddaughter, that our reproductive rights and women's health cannot be shut down and limited. I don't want to see us ending up truly in the dystopian world of A Handmaid's Tale. I think that kind of encompasses also my ask. My ask, I guess, is to say I want to unify this country, let go of the division, and bring back the integrity of our and dignity of our humanity, to really see the beauty in each of us, in our differences and in the places that we're alike. And I have a movie coming out September 20th called The Substance, which is all about how we view ourselves as women, how we view ourselves. It's about the violence that we hold against ourselves and how the acceptance of who we are as we are is really important. If you could support me in seeing that and to making a change, a cultural shift in how we see ourselves and thereby how we see each other. I'm just really excited. I want to see this energy keep going. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. Let's get out there. Let's share this. Let's focus on what we want, not what we don't want. Embrace the differences as we go out and share this message with other people so that we can continue this momentum. All right, thanks.
So we're going to focus on what we want, not what we don't want. And we're going to focus on what's ours, not what we've been told is not ours. And we're going to be focusing on the fact that we are all human individuals who should be treated with the respect and dignity that any person who comes into this world deserves. And that is what we are going to continue to do over the next 82 days. It's what we're going to do together. We're going to continue to hype Kamala Harris to become our next president. And we're going to hype ourselves and each other along the way because we can do both. We can do both. And if we're doing both, then we're getting books out. We're launching AI products. We're launching fashion. We're doing all the damn shit, okay? Because that's what women do. Women do it all. We're going to keep doing it, but we're going to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves too. This is the first of 7 calls happening between August 15th and October 31st, because I have a problem with just doing one thing. If you know me, you know this well. So each of these calls are going to be themed. We'll be sharing out what that looks like, and they're happening every 2 weeks. And the point is to continue to gather in these spaces and bring people together who are doing this work in different ways that inspire us and motivate us and help us think about how we can show up in a way that meets us in this moment. Everyone's capacity looks different, and I don't want you to feel bad about what it looks like. Do what feels right, and then try a little more the next day. That's all we can do over these next 82. So make sure that you keep checking back at hypewomenforharris.com. We are launching an auction in between our calls, featuring amazing women. And we have some of the first pieces that are going to be launched into the world coming up on this slide, if the team can pull it up for us here. I don't know if you've heard of Tiny Pricks, you probably have, but we're doing a little collab and have an amazing Hype Women for Harris stitch that is going to be up for auction starting tomorrow. All proceeds go directly to support the Harris campaign. And we also have the Blislau Hype Women necklace created by my dear friend Bliss, who is a New York designer who's been around for 20 years. She created this necklace with the idea that as you wear it, if you put it shorter or longer, you go from flying, oops, sorry. Didn't practice this, flying to soaring. And I think like the idea of what that is a lot of us have been flying and flapping our wings really hard for a long time to stay above and to get it going and to do the work that we're doing in this world. But we might actually be at a point where we can start to soar because the rest of us are putting some air under it. I keep saying this phrase because I'm clearly obsessed with butterflies. I've been drawing butterflies. Got a butterfly tattoo. I've been drawing them since I was a little girl everywhere. The idea of metamorphosis and transformation, but this notion of individually, we make a breeze. Collectively, we create a hurricane. A butterfly flapping its wings by itself creates a little bit of a breeze, but when you get hundreds of butterflies together, they change the weather pattern on the opposite side of the world. That's what we're doing. It's what we're doing together. I'm so grateful for all of you. There's so much more to come, but we're going to go take a nap and we're going to drink some water. And then we're going to get up tomorrow and we're going to do it all again.